Because he's
it's like you
'cause he's
standing
him.
in the doorway
He's him.
with the lights all over again.
Because I'm him.
I don't like.
Because I'm him.
You're not
We're here
him.
with
Welcome
Bert
back,
and
guys.
Ernie.
Welcome back to the Sporting Lounge. It's Derpamation here, Shane. I don't got a fucking voice tonight. I'm too busy getting fucking dunked on by everybody else to fucking get the intro going. So here I am, with no fucking voice, introducing everybody. Here I am, Derpamation. Shane, to my right, we got Travis T. Rizzle, little lame-ass motherfucker. And then the lamest motherfucker next to him, Austin. Fucking bum-ass dude. I don't give a fuck about him. I hope he dies in a tragic fire. Anyways, we're here to talk about fantasy football, NFL Week 5 results, and NFL Week 6 predictions. Let's go ahead and get this thing out the road. And number 1 overall.
You sound and look like Beaker from the
At the top
Muppets.
of the block,
Nope.
Chase Claypool got traded to the Miami Dolphins. Was the Chase Claypool Steelers trade the worst trade of all time? Yes or no? Of all time.
Yes.
Of all time. Like,
Chase
there's
is
been
horrible.
bad trades. There's been bad trades. But you got to keep in mind that Chase Claypool trade was a first-round pick for Chase Claypool. It was actually a first-round pick for Chase Claypool. It was a second-round pick, but the Dolphins didn't get the first-round pick. So it ended up only being a 31 pick first round. The Steelers obtained the first overall pick in the second round because the Bears were so ass. And they got Joey Porter Jr. from that pick, who has only allowed one reception for 12 yards and a 0.0.
I want to know what Sarah just said about you.
What? Say it.
She was like, Shane sounds like he hit reverse puberty.
That's so funny. I'm not sure it's the worst trade. I think what's up there for the worst trade, though, is Mitchell Trubisky back in 2018 with the Bears. You could almost argue Carson Wentz. You could argue that trade as being the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a pretty bad trade.
Someone get a ban on Lady Chulo right now. Get her out of my fucking chat. I don't want her here. I don't want her here.
Suck it up.
You know, I almost dive bombed through that woman's car one time.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, it seems like the Bears front office is bad right now. You're right about the Mitch Trubisky trade. But
I think the only thing they've done right was the amount of capital they got back for the number 1 overall pick. That's like the only thing I think they did right.
I think that saved them.
And then also, like, they didn't retain Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Like, bro, there's been so much good talent that's came through Chicago. Roquan Smith, you know, like, there's a lot of really good talent. Eddie Jackson is still, I believe he's gotten to the age where he's going to go ahead and start falling off. But, you know, the Bears essentially deteriorated and wasted that man's whole career. And that sucks because Eddie Jackson is a great player. But that does lead me into my first matchup of Week 5 that I want to review.
Steelers Ravens.
I was gonna.
You went there. Oh my.
Do we want to do that one right now? We can. I was going to do Bears Counties.
Yeah, let's do
Bears
it.
Counties.
Bears what? Bears Counties?
Commies. Communist. The
I mean, this is
communist.
Washington. All right.
Yeah,
I can't see the
Washington.
computer very well, but
I think it's pretty evident that that Matt Canada is not the problem, and that it is in fact Kenny Pickett.
Are we just going to the Steelers? Okay. Yeah, I agree.
I'm just
I agree. Matt Canada isn't the problem. Mike Tomlin isn't the problem. The offensive line is not the problem.
I can't
Wide
take
receivers
serious.
dropping the balls is not the problem. It's all fucking Kenny Pickett. It's all Kenny Pickett. And, you know, Kenny Pickett, what a fucking dumbass. For, you know, on a game-winning drive, yelled, Randy, Randy, Randy. Going for the boss route. Getting it to Pickens. 1v1 coverage. He knew what was going to happen, and we all did. Sorry, Marlon Humphrey, you got fucking roasted. That shit was sad. I shed a tear for him. I felt bad. In all reality, you know, here's the thing. On a serious note, Kenny Pickett did show signs of improvement. Even though Canada is like not helping him at all. You know, the Steelers scored a touchdown. That's a game-winning touchdown. That touchdown won the Steelers that game. and you look up in the booth, and Matt Canada's just like,
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah, that got
like-
played so much.
He
like,
knows.
that's bad.
I'm surprised we haven't had an announcement already that he's fired. To be honest, like he needs to go.
It's just
Like,
not the way the Steelers do
There's
it.
there to be fair, like if you were to just look at all the stats, just look at the box score of the Steelers Ravens game, you'd be like, how the hell did the Steelers win? And
To be
the
fair,
the fact that they're first in their division with the way the offense is being ran, a testament to their defense.
That's what I was about to
Um,
say.
But
Is there a real
if they-
discussion
if-
to be had?
If they could
that
even
the
just have
Steelers
an
are the best
average
defense?
offense, it's that bad. If they could just have an
Yep.
average offense, they'd actually be a real threat in the AFC this year because I don't think all the top tier teams in the AFC haven't quite lived up to the expectations that people expected so far. I think the AFC is wide open right now.
Is there another team that has a defense that can win them games and keep them alive in games like the Steelers defense has done this season? You could say the 49ers might be able to. They haven't yet.
I think maybe the Jets, but they don't have the offense. Again,
They don't have
I
the
mean,
wins. They don't have
yeah.
the wins to back that statement up either. The
Yeah.
Steelers have the wins. The Steelers have acquired those wins through hard, hard-nosed
Mhm.
defense. They
I
did
think
it.
I think with the Steelers win, right? I think it was really two things. One, their defense played well, but also the bigger story for me, at least, is that the Ravens wide receivers single-handedly
bad.
in that game lost in that game.
Butterfingers?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
dropped a couple.
They-
There was like what 2 touchdowns dropped.
yeah, and multiple other drops that when they were driving that kind of stalled their drive. So I think that's a pretty big story that the Ravens wide receivers, at least from the Ravens side of the ball, lost in the game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, it is horrible when it's I hate seeing it. It's not fun football when that shit happens,
Mm-mm.
And as a Steelers fan, this was one of the few times I wanted the Steelers to lose because they came out before the game. There's news articles that are coming out around 11 a.m. on Sunday saying that the Steelers lose this game,
Canada's
gone. And then, the way it was phrased was, if the Steelers have another bad offensive performance, Canada's gone.
And they technically did.
And they had a horrible offensive performance. They were bad on offense.
Pickens was
Another
the only.
300-yard week.
I'll say Pickens was the only one that was good.
Yeah, Pickett was pretty solid, honestly, and Jalen Warren was a stud. But here's the thing, Broderick Jones, he's looking like a true starting left tackle. That's a good thing for that offense.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Shakorafor is not looking legit. The rest of that offensive line, after I'm watching the All-22, I've not been a big fan of Mason Cole this season, but you're watching the pocket that Kenny's getting. All the pressure's coming on the right side, if any pressure's really coming at all. And it's one of those things where they're not utilizing that time. I've never seen a quarterback drop back into such a set pocket so consistently and not be able to air the ball out.
Okay. So I want to ask you one question, really,
Mhm.
and ignore the play calling, right? Ignore the
Sure.
play calling and all that. What do you see as the Steelers' single greatest weakness through 5 weeks? Position wise, it can be position wise, but
Positionally,
but just ignoring the play calling.
So we can't.
Honestly?
you can't default to Matt Canada then.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
I think it's been rush blocking. It's tough. You kind of put me in a weird position because you could say
Mhm.
rush blocking is a part of play design and play calling, but
Right. Well,
Here's
and
the
I said
thing.
it like that.
Okay.
And I said it like that because I didn't want you to default to Matt Canada.
okay, was my answer acceptable to what you were seeking then?
Yeah,
And I could get into my reasoning on why I was hesitant to even say that based on the guidelines I was given. The thing is, the
I
Steelers
just didn't
offense,
want you to. I just didn't want you to default to Matt Canada because I figured you would have.
for sure. The Steelers offensive line, the thing is, you're looking at it and they are actually pretty good on pass blocking. You watch on pass blocking downs, Kenny's getting a lot of time usually. There's the occasional down where he's getting pressured, but every quarterback's got to deal with that, and that's just part of the fucking game. But overall, he's doing pretty well. I don't have an exact stat in front of me, but after watching the All-22 today, it was the last game I watched. You guys know that I watch every other game except the Steelers because on Sunday, that's the game I always watch live. So I finished up with my Steelers-Ravens All-22, and the thing is, when I'm watching the All-22, it doesn't feel like there's enough opportunities for, Najee to like get through. Like, and the thing is, Najee's grinding down defenses. It's just like we need to not let that big body of a running back get touched within 2 yards every time. We need to get him 3 yards of separation on every rush, and that's how Derrick Henry's so dominant. Once you get Derrick Henry or a Jerome Bettis or a Marshall Faulk running downhill, they're hard to stop.
Yep.
But you need to get them going downhill. Otherwise, they're not that great. You know, like you get to see that dichotomy perfectly with the career of Ray Rice.
Yes.
You know, Ray Rice, on years that he was able to be very efficient and be a very elite power back, he was able to come downhill very effectively. His offensive line was getting him 3-4 yards of separation, and he was having a 100-yard game every other week at least on the ground. And then, you know, when he wasn't able to get that, you know, he wasn't even an RB3 in most fantasy leagues because his production wasn't there. Najee's a similar back because he's a power back. Jaylen Warren's able to excel in this because he's a one-step speed guy that's able to go ahead and shift through the offensive line and dance. So, like, when you're looking at the Najee versus Jaylen comparison, that's a big thing of it. And then also you look at that offensive line and how they've been blocking. You know, it does go back to scheming because this offensive line, their talent is in double blocking. So, you know, getting guys doubled up on the line, you know, if you're running into a 4-3 scheme and you're going to be running, you're going to have 6 guys on the line, including your tight end. Darnell Washington's probably going to be a blocker with Pat Freiermuth out especially. You're going to have 6 guys pushing down the field. You get a double team stuck on 2 guys. And once that double team's won, you're moving to the second level and you're getting that space. That's how the Steelers should be running the ball because that's how their offensive line's built. That's what they're built to accelerate at. You know, Isaac Samal, he's made a career on that, and they're not doing that. They acquired him in free agency this offseason. Broderick Jones, he doesn't need the double team assistance. So you know you can go ahead and throw your double team on the other side with Chuck Okorafor, where he's just going to have to deal with a stronger rusher and all that, and then move down the field. You got a guy like Mason Cole who can help on that double team and pick up a middle linebacker, and he's proven he's able to do that. And then, you know, right next to him, you might have Nate Herbig. It depends on what set they're running, but it seems like Nate Herbig's been getting a significant more count snaps. So, you know, Nate Herbig is able to do that too, and he's made a whole career on being a road warrior. And that's that. You know, don't be running this zone fucking rush offense when you have bowling balls on your offensive line. You built your offensive line with a scheme in mind, and you're not
run
running
between the tackles.
Run between the tackles, exactly. Don't be trying to pop out to the hashes every fucking down. And
especially when players are already going to naturally like play outside for Najee anyways because he's a receiving back. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, put him in.
Take advantage.
Use his big body.
Shove it down their fucking throat. And the thing is with Najee, he's the type of fucker you can give 25 carries, and he's averaging 3.8 yards per rush. But
bring Darnell's big ass in motion and have him fucking be a run blocker in front of him.
Yep. Yeah, do something. Because, okay, if the Steelers get 3.5 yards per carry with Najee, do they win that game? Yes or no? Probably.
They won anyways. I mean,
I'm just saying in general, against any opponent, the Steelers, Najee Harris gets 3.5 yards per carry. Are they winning that game?
Probably.
We're assuming it's not less than 10 carries or some shit. We're assuming like 15 to 25 carries. So let's say 20. So, you know, you go ahead and do the fucking math. It's like, what? Fucking on 20
70.
carries.
It's like
70 yards. 70 yards on the ground. If Najee gets 70 yards on the ground, do the Steelers win every game?
Not every game, but
not every game because I think he did. I think the one game that he had 70 yards, they lost 2 weeks ago.
Okay, let me counter you with this point.
I think their offense will look much better though.
Yes.
Let me counter you with this.
On a week-to-week basis, they would be harder to beat.
Because here's the thing: the Steelers haven't won time of possession one time this season. Maybe against the Raiders.
Yeah, if he's running effectively like that, then they're controlling the clock more.
Yeah.
So
imagine that Steelers defense when they're only on the field for 25 minutes instead of 35 minutes. That's a scary difference. And that's why I'm saying that. Is like, imagine Najee gets 70 yards per week on the ground. Who's stopping that team? Sure, you can stop Kenny Pickett. Sure, Matt Canada might suck. But when it comes down to the nitty and gritty, who the fuck's stopping that team if Najee gets 70 yards per week? That's it. That's all you need. No, you're not.
What'd you say, Travis?
Mullet ass, bum ass, fucking bum. I don't even got enough words to describe you because being around you lowers my fucking vocabulary because I lose brain cells being in the same room as you. Speaking of
No,
losing brain cells,
That's only with Ben. Bears, Redskins, guys.
Redskins, huh? Commies.
I mean,
I love the
I did hear
commies.
that there's like a petition to
Bears
change the name
Commanders.
back, but man, Bears Commanders, I expected not a blowout like that. I mean, I'm not necessarily surprised the Bears won,
40-20.
but I didn't expect it like that.
Yeah.
DJ Moore is and the defense are the reason that Bears won. They
Yeah,
stopped
230 of his 280 yards went to DJ Moore.
Yeah, the big thing too is like even with that is the defense. Like they held Brian Robinson, or they held the entire Washington team to 29 rushing yards total on the day. Brian Robinson had 6 carries for 10 yards. And Sam Howell was the leading rusher with 4 for 19.
Yeah,
Sam
I wish I
Howell
played him.
carries.
I wish I played him.
Yeah, Sam
He
Howell
got like
looks
30 points.
Sam
35
Howell
points.
looks to be legit, and I think you can comfortably, especially in 2 QB leagues in
Every
dynasty
dog has
formats.
their day.
Sam Howell, I think you can start in 2 QB leagues moving forward.
I was talking about the Bears.
Bears, yeah.
Every dog has their day. Sam Howell, I'm comfortable with starting. I think he's a super flex starter, and I think that he's proven that. Thing is,
I think
Commanders,
the
they're gonna
Bears
be a
defense has
playoff
been
team.
underperforming so far. The defense has, at least.
100%. Yeah. We got to see what the Bears team was supposed to look like on Sunday or on Thursday this
Yeah.
week.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see what that Bears team was supposed to look like. That was the performance that, when I'm in the offseason saying, I think the Bears might win the NFC North, that's how they do it.
If their defense,
Yep.
I mean, I'll give their defense a pass because they had to get used to playing with each other on the field, like in the actual game scenario, and a lot of their new parts were linebackers, so they got to feel that out, and that's an important one. But Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, Tremaine's an All-Pro caliber linebacker, and TJ's a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
then,
they have a lot of talent, especially with Yannick on the line and Eddie Jackson, But
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, big thing with that game, too, is like, Tevin Jenkins coming back. Their other starting guard. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Tevin Jenkins is the best fucking guard in the NFL. And if you don't think so, you don't know how offensive linemen are supposed to block, or you don't watch enough film. Other than Quentin Nelson, of course. He has that crown. But, outside of Quentin Nelson, Jenkins is the best. And there's an argument that I'd rather have Jenkins on my team than Nelson, too.
Okay.
At this point. Just because of age and because of trajectory of where Jenkins is. Jenkins is him. And I think the key player this week was Jenkins. You watch that all 22 where Justin Fields has all day in the pocket. Yep. Oh, DJ Moore's open? Dink. And he's just sitting there thinking like that all day. You get to do that all day, you're going to shred up a lot of teams. And that was against a good Commanders defense. A proven Commanders defense. One that usually keeps them in games. Yeah, and the Bears showed them what they were made of, and I think them getting their offensive line back to good health and getting Tevin Jenkins back specifically, that is going to be a huge impact for the Bears throughout the rest of the season. Yeah, and is there a chance that the Bears can turn this thing around?
There's plenty of time.
I think the rest of the division is weak enough that I don't know if they can beat the Lions. I think the Lions are really good right now.
They're good, but I think they could.
But I do think that the Bears 100% that I'm not saying that they need to show up and just start smacking everybody. I don't expect that like week in and week out. But if they play even 75% to that level for the rest of the season, they'll at least finish second in the division.
What's crazy to me is that DJ Moore got 230 yards, and then Cole Kmet got 42 more of those yards. So, and then 2 people caught 10 yards after that. And Cole Kmet still had a very good fantasy day. Still for a tight end.
I actually like him for fantasy moving forward, especially in dynasty formats.
Yeah, he had like 15 points.
He's been kind of solid this year. He's honestly, as far as tight ends go, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but
can we hit reverse a little bit? Chad was talking a lot about that Steelers game. All right, and there's a couple points I want to circle on. I didn't notice it until we started talking about Commies Bears. So Chad was saying run blocking was their biggest weakness as well. I didn't even see chat, by the way. So I'm glad that Chad and I had the same opinion on run blocking being the weakest aspect of the game. But I think it's a schematical thing rather than a talent thing. And that's not, like, you said, not including Matt Canada, but, like, it's a big deal because it's like, you know, when you're saying there's an issue, you got to evaluate on which side is the issue. Is it a schematic issue or is it a talent issue? You know, when you got a guy like Kendrick Green who, like, schematically wasn't fitting in with the Steelers, you got a guy like Kevin Dotson that wasn't fitting in schematically with the Steelers, and then they go to the Rams and Texans and Rams respectively. Dotson to the Rams, Green to the Texans, and they go and ball out the first week that they're there, and they put on a dominant performance and prove why they should have been on the Steelers still, and that they didn't need to be replaced. That leaves a bad taste in your mouth, especially as a Steelers fan, and especially when you're like looking at a guy like Matt Canada. Chad was also saying something about, you know, road graders. I don't know what a road grader is. I've heard the term road raider, and not using them to their strengths in run games. They're saying you want 4 yards per carry on the ground. 4 yards per carry, that's a good game. 3.5, that's an average game because 3.5, 7, 10 and a half. You get a first down if you're running 3.5 yards per carry with half a yard to spare. So on an average game, the most mediocre week of a fucking
That's why
running
Jerome Bettis was so good because he only had that like 3-point-something yards per carry for his
3.6.
career, but he was gonna get it.
Yeah, exactly. And when you talk about power backs, you know, like this is kind of my philosophy with power backs. Like yards per carry isn't as effective, but they need to have the touchdown to make up for it. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I wanted to circle back on that for
that's
chat.
fine. I like that. I like
it.
To keep the chat interactive. But back to Cole Kmet, like I think he's a sit and start for the rest of the season. He finishes in our league scoring at least 7th in PPR for tight ends last year, and he's currently tight end 4 in our league. In our league, it goes right now: Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce, TJ Hawkinson, Cole Kmet. Those are the top 4 tight ends. I like that. He's great. He's doing good. I think he's a start. Do we think that DJ? I mean, obviously we're not expecting a 50-plus point blow up from anybody very often, but DJ Moore, is he a now high-end wide receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 1 moving forward the rest of the season?
I mean, like, you drafted him at that position. If you got DJ Moore, you're drafting him at that position where you're expecting him to be your WR2, you know? Like, realistically, you're probably getting him in the 5th or 6th round. Like, that's a pretty high pick in fantasy. And
I'll probably be playing him every week.
Yeah, I think just like with how your roster is probably going to have to end up being built, if you're not confident in DJ Moore, dump him now. Dump him this week.
I just traded him.
Yeah, if you're not confident in him, dump him right now. If you are confident in him, if you are confident in him, hold on to him and let it ride. But you got to, with the value that you put on him, you got to recognize he's probably going to be a boomer bust prospect, not because of his talent, but because Justin Fields is passing him the ball, which, although he did have a fantastic and amazing game,
he's had a good 2 weeks.
He's had a good 2 weeks, and, you know, as I said, let me ask you this. Do you think that Bears offensive line with Tevin Jenkins improves enough where DJ Moore is going to become a number 1 wide receiver?
It's not as fantasy.
Possibly. It depends. Like in a 10-team league, maybe not, but a 12 or 14-team league, yes. He's currently wide receiver 4 in our format, and I do not expect him to hold. Like, I did sell him high because of that. I don't expect him to stay like that.
I don't see him being 4
or even top 10. But like, I think let's see, in our league format, what's his season finish high?
Well, you bring that up.
I think it's like 21 is his high. Let me check.
You know,
with the Panthers.
Like Darnell Mooney. How are you guys feeling about Darnell Mooney after this week?
Droppable.
Yeah.
Entering that territory, yeah.
Okay, so his best season was 2019. He finished as wide receiver 16. Then he was 23rd in 2020. In 2021, he was 18th. Then last year, he was 24th. I think that he would be... He's not he's going to be anywhere between 15 and 20 again, I think, in my opinion. But I don't think that top 5 is going to hold. So,
no, it's definitely not.
but I do think that he could potentially be slightly more consistent this season than he has been than he ever was with Carolina, where he was just 6 points, 8 points, 7 points, 30 points randomly 3 times a year.
So you think his floor is gonna be like 12 points type of thing?
Yeah, he's been pretty solid. I think he's only scored under 14 points in our league once this season. I think it was week 1, and he's been pretty steady ever since.
Yeah, I kind of see his floor as 12 to 13 point range. I mean, he's gonna have his blow games like we saw. Every receiver is. Like, we saw Jamar Chase last week with like 65 points. I think it was.
I think his ceiling's still the same as it was in Carolina, but I think his floor is a little higher now.
Yeah, I think they definitely poured
for
some
sure.
concrete on that and raised his basement a little bit up. Speaking of concrete, let's take a trip out to London.
The Jags.
They might as well just build. They might as well just put a Jaguar logo in London because they're
London. Yeah,
they're
London
good out
should
there.
just be a Jaguar now.
They're good out there.
They are good out there. They beat Buffalo. They really did. Like, I feel like it was a fundamental beat. Like, I feel like, although Josh Allen did pass for 359 yards, like, they just held the game. I felt like watching the game, it felt like the Jaguars just had control. And, like, Josh Allen just had to keep passing the ball. And they kept making him drop back. And that's what you want to do. When you're playing against Josh Allen, you get pressure on him. You make it so he has to throw the ball. Although he did have that flashy 359 yards passing, the Buffalo Bills as a team only got 33 yards on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, so like my big takeaway from watching that game was the Jags had all the energy, they had all the momentum, and never feel like the Bills were ever in the game. It always felt like the Jags had control, and that's huge.
Yep.
So I was very impressed with the Jags kind of bounced back from a rough couple weeks.
I would say Lawrence played really well, but Ridley had a good game. Kirk was playable.
Travis Etienne had a good game.
Travis Etienne had the best game of his career so far.
Yeah, I mean, he was bound to break out like that.
And it was against a quality opponent, too, so that's even better.
Yeah, I'm so happy Calvin Ridley's looking like a stud.
I
bet on him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, the Bills being held to only 33 total rushing yards. Well, I think it was 29 because James Cook had -4. But, so net yards, I think they had 29 on the ground. But how much of it, I mean, Lawrence bounced back and Etienne had a great game as well, and Ridley, but how much of that was jet lag from the Bills in their first game this season without Tre'Davious White also? Whereas Jacksonville's been in London for 2.5 weeks and is used to it.
I mean, they weren't in London for that long though, so
they played in London 2 weeks in a row.
Did they? Well, anyways, I don't really care. Fuck the Bills. I'm glad Jacksonville won.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, if the phrase "any given Sunday" was like a personification of something, it's like the entire AFC conference right now. And whereas I think like there's a hierarchy in the NFC, and I think it goes 49ers, Eagles, Lions or Seahawks, whatever you want. And then even though the Cowboys just got wrecked, I still think it's the Cowboys. And unfortunately, but and then after that, it's whatever. Whereas I have no idea who's number 1 in the AFC. I mean, by record, I guess you can say the Chiefs are still, but I don't trust it as much this year. I don't.
What were the teams you said in the NFC again?
I would say San Fran's 1 in the NFC. The Eagles are 2. And then I'll take either Detroit or the Seahawks since Seattle actually beat us. And then after that, so that's 3 and 4 interchangeable between the Lions and Seahawks. And then I'll still take Dallas or maybe the Bucks.
I want to put the Bucks.
They're 3-1. What about the Rams then? What about the Falcons?
I have no faith in a Baker Mayfield-led team.
Neither do I. But when a team is 3-1, you do have to put respect on it.
Nope. He sure fucking don't. Rams.
Sure.
I'll take the Rams over the Bucks all day.
That's wild, bro. You know, speaking of the Rams, greatest show on turf. I was watching a documentary
What a
about that
good
earlier.
movie. That's a great ass movie.
Yeah, and
Travis, have you seen it yet?
Yeah.
the Saints, they put the greatest show on turf on your Patriots, my friend.
Yeah,
Anyways, Falcons versus Texans next up on the list.
We can go ahead. We can.
I was playing.
I was
just going off the list I had. We can talk about the Patriots Cowboys game. I'm cool with that.
Patriots Saints, you mean?
Yeah, whatever.
You're so
Same
stupid,
damn
bro.
thing.
It's so embarrassing.
You're so
around you.
ugly, bro.
It's
You're
so
so
embarrassing
ugly.
being around you because you're so stupid.
You're so ugly, dude. I am stupid. I joined the military, so there's that.
There you go. There you go.
That's why I've gotten you crayons for Christmas like the last 5 years.
You've never got me crayons.
Oh, well, you're about to get a lot then because I got
I'm
5
not
years
the
worth to come.
Funny story. I was talking to someone at work, and I told him how I gave you a live tarantula for a Christmas
I
present.
don't want to talk about that.
I told him how you flung back basically to the people behind us in the booth. They all thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah,
So there's that.
Not what I had a feeling that there was going to be a spider of some sort in there. I just didn't think you actually bought a tarantula, so it freaked me
Wild.
out. It was in the middle of a restaurant.
Lore?
Sporting Lounge lore.
I went to the pet store next to Meyer on Columbia.
Yeah, we had. Yeah,
I was like, I want a tarantula, and they were like, "Are you sure?" And they kept asking me all these questions, like, "Yeah," because I already had I think it was Josh, because he already had tarantula, so I already had him lined up to take the tarantula.
Well, that's good.
At the time.
Yeah, I'm not fond of spiders, and it was our Uncle Ed's Christmas party.
Yep.
And we're inside the Hunt Club at the time, the restaurant, and
Uncle Ed's is a oil shop in the Midwest, by the way.
Yeah, and it was our Christmas gift exchange party in the middle of a restaurant, and there's random people behind us in the booth behind us in the table, and I was opening up my present, and I pulled out a container, and there's a fucking tarantula.
Did you throw it, bro? What'd you do?
Oh yeah, dude! I ended up in the booth behind me, and I ended up on some random couple's lap. I have no idea who they were. I was terrified. Fuck that.
I wish I was them, bro. I'd love to have you on that.
It was.
I mean,
it was
They
so
were
funny.
mad, and then they saw the container, and then they understood.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry.
It was so funny. I fucking loved it.
It wasn't just me though. Travis Andrews was sitting next to me, and he freaking jumped up and did the same thing. And he's huge compared to me.
He freaked.
He's a big boy.
I wish I recorded it. I was not smart. I did not record it. I fucked up. But that's fine. Anyways, the Patriots.
Why don't you tell us about it, Austin? Talk about them, what you think about your team, what the Saints do right, what they do wrong. Go ahead and give us the up and down.
So sad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sad. So like the biggest thing with me, like the Patriots, is they lost two very key defensive players, two of their best defensive, and then like their best draft pick in the past 2 years, arguably, Christian Gonzalez. But I mean, Kyle Duggar was a very good pick, so I'm not upset about him. But I'm curious as to how long it's going to take the Patriots to figure out their defensive side of the ball, losing their two starters. But on the offensive side of the ball, they look uncomfortable and slow.
Yes.
They're not playing to Mac Jones's strengths, essentially, I think.
If Mac Jones was playing in San Francisco, would he be the best quarterback in the NFL?
Not the best quarterback
He'd be
in the NFL, but I think
he'd be top 12.
I think the
would he be better than Brock Purdy?
No,
I don't know. I don't think Purdy's getting enough credit for what he's actually doing because he's
No, I don't think he'd be better than Brock Purdy, but I think they'd still be undefeated.
Yeah.
Personally. I don't think they're calling the right plays. I think
I don't think they have any receivers that are like actually good. I think Jacoby Myers.
Got Juju.
I think Juju's. Well, his knee is gone, man.
I know. I'm joking.
His knee's gone.
When your best receiver is Juju, that's an issue. Juju has never been a wide receiver one. Effectively,
Devontae Parker had one random good season out of nowhere, and that was it. And then I don't know. They don't have the wide receiver presence to where giving the ball to Stevenson is a viable option because they know, like, okay, if they're giving the ball to Stevenson, we can stack the box because Mac's not going to beat us with this wide receiver core.
I think And they're super predictable too. Their offensive scheme is super predictable. I think Billy B got way too used to a Tom Brady led offense where he could essentially bail them out and just make plays happen with, I mean, still good receivers, but I think it was the quarterback that made them good and relevant to an extent. I don't think.
Yeah, Tom Brady made Randy Moss relevant. You're right.
No, I'm not talking about Randy Moss. I'm talking about
Tom Brady made
Welker.
Gronkowski relevant.
Edelman.
You know, yeah, you're
I'm talking about Welker, Amendola, Edelman.
Oh, you know, Tom Brady really did make Aaron Hernandez. That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
That
pinata.
Florida team is crazy, bro. They got
He
the
made
Pouncey brothers, Hernandez, that team's crazy.
He made
bro. They at
himself
least killed
relevant.
33 people, bro.
But
That
at least
team-
with the Patriots offense back then, right? They played a lot to their players' strengths, and I don't think they're doing that right now.
Yep. Well, you know that.
I think
That
Bill
was a
needs to
huge
bite the
thing.
bullet and finally draft a wide receiver in the first round because that's what they're lacking.
They did
Yeah. Nelson
3-4
Aguilar.
years ago. No, they drafted the homie that went to the Bears. Fuck, what's his
Oh
name?
yeah. Fucking.
The dude who's always, why can't I think of his name right now?
Is it Amon-Ra's brother?
No. They drafted him at like the 30th or 31st pick back in
N'Keal
2018.
Harry.
Thank you. Yes. They drafted N'Keal
32nd.
Harry.
Yep,
The
you're right.
first wide receiver that he's taken in the first round.
Yep.
Same year DK
Okay.
Metcalf came out.
Well, he needs to do it again and hopefully hit because
Same
I
year
think
DK Metcalf.
because I think personally if they have one more bad, I don't expect them to be like this bad going forward, but like even one more. Even though Belichick said today that Mac Jones is our starter still, one more week I think the change is made. If Mac has another bad performance, the change is made. They have, especially with their player, especially with the defense gone, with Christian Gonzalez and Judon gone, they have nothing to lose. That like if they lose another game like that, they have nothing to lose. Your defense is hurt. Figure out what works on offense during this losing season, and then go from there. Give yourself an identity so that way you know what to look for in the draft.
I disagree. And it's really down to one main thing. I think if they keep losing like this, Robert Kraft needs to make a change at GM.
Whoa.
How many? I can see.
You don't think it's Bill Belichick?
Whether we think it's Belichick or not, and whether we think a lot of his success was from Brady or not, his stats are going to allow him to retire on his terms.
Let's let Austin answer because he's the Patriots fan. He's going to have.
I think at the end of the day, the last like 4 years, right? He's hit on a few players, but I think he is better served as a head coach. I don't think necessarily think he's meant to be a GM long term. I don't think he never really was meant to be the GM and the head coach long term. But they just kept winning, so why make a change when you're already winning, right? So I think long term Patriot success, they need to make a change at GM and hire someone else. I'm not quite sure who, but I don't think Bill Belichick's really the answer anymore long term.
You know, Kevin Colbert retired last year from the Steelers, and he did a pretty damn good job when he was tenured there.
Especially if you consider like the last 4 drafts, right? They haven't been very good for the Patriots. They've been okay and mediocre and kind of. It
just feels like every draft they get one player that is a potential starter, and that's not good enough. You want to have one good. You want to have one guaranteed starter, and you want to get a starter, about 2 or 3 starters in the next 4 years.
I think that's where I heard him this year is because I think they actually found a guy in Christian Gonzalez, and of course he goes out for the year.
Yep,
I think Gonzalez was actually like, okay, this guy could be a top 10 mainstay QB.
And then they had Kyle Duggar. They had Kyle Duggar from a lesser-known Division II school, who turned out to be very good. So Bill Belichick is very good at scouting. I don't think you can really argue that. Now, when it comes to just drafting overall players, he's kind of, I think, lacking and is a little weak at. So I think he needs to have someone to really counter him because in the building, there's really no one to counter him besides Robert Kraft. And Robert Kraft isn't going to just outright overrule him. I think he needs that GM to kind of overrule him and make a different decision than what he wants for long-term success, at least.
I think unfortunately Belichick's done enough. Like Belichick's been to 8 Super Bowls and has won, or 9 Super Bowls and has won 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's whether he's the problem or not in certain phases, and whether we think it's Brady or not, he's earned the right to retire when he fucking wants to.
He gets the right to decide when he wants to leave.
Yeah.
No,
And
he
that's
does.
it.
And I think we touched on this not too long ago, where there's like a few coaches that kind of earn that right to decide.
I think Tomlin,
Yeah.
the Steelers, is one of them.
I don't think so.
Belichick.
I think Andy Reid's one.
I think Tomlin could be there inside the organization, but I think he could also not be there because it's like it helps Tomlin that he's playing for the Steelers.
Steelers are one of the best organizations for, like, they're one of the best employers.
They just ain't gonna fire you. They just won't. And like it helps that Tomlin has all these winning records, and it helps that Tomlin is a good coach. But if Tomlin was playing for the Broncos, I wouldn't have the same job security for him, even with the resume that he has. But Bill Belichick is arguably the greatest coach to ever grace the fucking field. And he's got the
2.5, 3
3
seasons, he's going to be the all-time wins leader too.
Yeah,
it's
just one of those things where it's just like he's earned that right. You aren't dominant for 20 years, get 6 rings for your organization, and then they push you out. It just won't happen. Look at Chuck Noll. It was a similar situation to Chuck Noll back in the 80s. Chuck Noll obviously became the head coach of the Steelers in '69, coached them all the way up to '86, I believe. And throughout that time, he got to decide when he got to leave. That's because he got 4 Super Bowl rings in a decade. When you do that, you get that. No other coach has done that.
I was saying,
other than a select few.
I was gonna say if Belichick gets to coach for another 3 to 5 years, like at the end of the day, he's verbatim the best coach ever, and I don't think it's arguable. Just whether we think his success is because of Brady or not, just because 9 championship appearances, 6 Super Bowls. That's first all time in both those categories. He'd be the all-time wins leader. He'll be top 5 in win percentage. He has the most playoff appearances, playoff wins, highest playoff winning percentage. Like everything, like pretty much every statistical stat you can throw at a coach, he's number 1 or top 3. Like, so.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely earned the right to be the highest paid coach because he gets like $20 million a year. Right, in all of sports, he's the highest paid coach. But I think he has earned the right to retire whenever he wants as a coach. But I think at a GM level, depending on how the rest of the season plays out, there needs to be a change. And the Patriots won't do it during the season, most likely. But if they finish with like under 500, especially, or 5 to 6 wins, there needs to be real conversation about a change at GM. Because he's a very good scout, but at drafting, he really lacks.
Yeah. It feels like he drafts like that kid that is like, oh shit, this 3rd round talent that I'm really high on, I'll take him in the 1st round. That's how the Patriots drafts feel. Is like, yeah, he has that 1st round potential, but he'll be available in the 3rd. Obviously not Christian Gonzalez. I'm not referencing Christian Gonzalez, but we were talking about him earlier. N'Keal Harry. He's definitely one of them. Dominic Easley. He was a late 2nd round prospect. Malcolm Brown. Like, he was projected to go pretty far in the 2nd, early 3rd. Isaiah Wynn. Like, Isaiah Wynn wasn't even on my fucking draft board in 2018. Let alone in the 1st round. Like, I think he was like a 4th round prospect overall on the big board.
But they've had really good draft picks too as well. Like Kyle Duggar, Christian Gonzalez. Dante Hightower, right? He drafts well for the defensive side of the ball, but when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, it feels like he doesn't know shit.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, they got Chandler Jones, Devin McCourty, Dante Hightower, Jared Mayo. But that Dante Hightower and Chandler Jones were taken in the same draft, and that was 2012. And this including Mac Jones. That is literally the last Pro Bowl player that they selected in the 1st round. Was 2012, other than Mac Jones. And Mac Jones obviously is a very polarizing talent. But we can agree Dante Hightower was elite. Chandler Jones is pretty good still. Devin McCourty, still very good. Jared Mayo, very good. Brandon Merriweather a year before. But we're talking about stuff that happened a decade ago. Now, over a decade ago, literally 11 years ago, was the last time that they drafted a Pro Bowler, just including Mac Jones in the 1st round.
So it's just like, damn.
That's just misses you don't want to have. Yeah.
Well, so long term. The old guard is starting to fade. New guard, Dan Campbell, Detroit Lions.
Yeah, what you think of them?
Nah.
Just thumped the Panthers 42-24. They avenged their loss last season. They got thumped by the Panthers, which honestly that game cost us the playoffs last year. We did it without Gibbs, without arguably our best player in Amon-Ra, and
Looked good.
we looked
Blocking.
really good.
That might have been one of the best blocking performances I'm going to see all season.
I think the Lions have a top 2 offensive line in the league when healthy.
Yeah,
it's them and the Eagles.
It was just Jared Goff is sitting there all fucking day, just all day long, bro. It the Panthers just weren't able to get to him. They weren't able to contain anything. The Bears' offensive line I was talking highly of earlier. The Lions' offensive line doubled their performance, and you've seen that in that 42-24 box score with 2 of their elite skill position players out.
They're just going to run the ball down your throat and pick you apart in the passing game with smart routes.
If Amon-Ra starts that game, and if Jahmyr Gibbs is there that game, is that enough to get an additional 18 points and put 60 on him? That's a real conversation that you can have about how good this Lions team just fucking played against these Panthers. And it all starts with the trenches. And on the other side of the ball, the Lions front 7 is a top 5 unit. Their secondary does leave a little bit to be desired week in, week out, but they played really well this week. And it's just exciting. It's exciting to see this Lions team be very effective for the first time in my life.
A former Steeler great had this to say about Jared Goff. He's a good, savvy quarterback. What's unique about him is I put him in that group with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning as far as the play action. They sell it. They do a good job of selling it. Yep. As a linebacker, that can be tricky because it looks the same. He's making every throw, and he's a number 1.
Exactly.
And
that's where that blocking comes in.
I don't disagree.
Big too. What? Think about this. When you go to hand the ball off, and it's faked well, and that offensive line is blocking for a run, where's that secondary?
Pushed up.
They're all in. They all came up. And now Jared Goff, because that offensive line is so good, even though he just had a play action pass, he goes for the play action. He's sitting there and he's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I make my decision. You can't, as a defensive unit, I feel miserable and pathetic for Panthers fans everywhere. You cannot let a quarterback sit there and pick you apart all day. You'll lose every fucking game, and they have.
I would say I think Detroit's established himself as a top 4 team minimum in the NFC and a top 6 team overall in the league right now. And I think moving forward, Goff's a mainstay. I think even QB leagues, he's probably a start. And
I could lean that way.
Montgomery's a start. Amon-Ra's a start. Laporta's obviously a start right now.
I'd put Laporta a start because he had 2 tutties.
He's currently tight end 1 in most fantasy formats.
And he didn't even get. Did he even play week 1?
Laporta, yeah, he did because he had like
Mark
5
Andrews
catches.
didn't play week 1.
But I was right about Jameson Williams. His presence on the field was going to be felt more in real life than it ever would be in fantasy. He's not gonna. I mean, I know it was his first week back. He's going to be slowly eased into the offense more, so he will get more touches. But he's not. I don't think he's going to be the consistent fantasy dynamite asset people thought he was going to be.
No,
but
it's going to be Amon-Ra, David Montgomery, and
but he
Sam
keeps
Laporta.
defenses honest with his speed, and he is those blocks. Like he's He's a good blocker. He had one of the touchdowns happened. One of Craig Reynolds' touchdowns was specifically because of a block that he threw out on the edge, and that's what I meant by his presence will be felt in real life more than on fantasy. But Bryce Young, outside of the 2 interceptions, had a pretty decent day. One of the interceptions was just a freak play by Aiden Hutchinson, but Thielen's been a steady surprise. I'm even at 33.
I want to circle back on Jameson Williams.
Okay, let's do it.
I think he's the type of guy where he realistically expecting moving forward. This is my expectations: 3 to 5 receptions, And he does with those receptions what he will do. And that's just the perfect boomer bust candidate. He could get 3 yards on 3 receptions, or he could have 5 receptions, 3 touchdowns, and 150 yards. That's just the type of guy he is. And if you're the type
especially with that speed.
Exactly. Like if you're a fantasy owner and you're like, man, I just need a little bit of dynamite. Like, I got a good, consistent core that can win me games, but like, I need that dynamite for those matchups that I might not be able to win and I'm willing to take the loss on. There are weeks like that in fantasy where you're just going to be like, this is a 50-50 matchup. I'm going to put in the risky guy. I would trade for Jameson Williams right now if your team's in that position.
He's a good buy low candidate right now.
He's going to be cheap. And if
he
you want to have that boomer bust
game,
potential,
turn around and sell him for triple what you paid for him.
Exactly. You could probably get him for, would you trade Jameson Williams for Cole Kmet?
In most team structures, possibly, but my team, no.
Yeah.
But if in Dynasty, would I trade a second round pick a couple years out for him still? Yeah.
Would you take a third this year for him?
Yeah. Easy.
I'd contemplate a second this year just because because he's young and on a good offense still.
Yep.
But yeah, he's worth having, but I don't think he's the people that drafted him to potentially be a wide receiver 1 and average 120 targets a season and whatnot. Like I don't think that's going to happen. At least not while the core for the offense that's there is there right now. But I'm excited for my Lions.
Days.
Yeah,
He'll have his days.
He will. He definitely will. But I'm excited for this Lions team. I don't expect I expect the playoffs, and I truly expect us to get our first playoff win since before I was born. But I don't expect anything else this season. But I think the following couple seasons will be going good. Thielen on the other side, definitely play him.
At season's end, where do you see the line seed?
3.
Oh, Travis, we were on the same page.
Yeah.
We telekinetic, bro.
Just because I think even if the Chicago Bears turn it around, I think there's already a big enough hole that the division's already the Lions to lose. And I think the AFC West is slightly, whereas Seattle, I think, is the biggest threat.
NFC West.
But like I don't see the NFC South division leader having more wins than the Lions. I just don't see it, especially since Tampa's the division leader right now, and we're gonna find out that game this week. So
I think it's realistic. The only 3 spots I see the Lions making and seeding this season is 2, 3, or 5, and that's it. Like those are the only possible seeds that they're going to have.
Yeah,
they're a playoff team. It's just a matter of where they're going to be getting their home field advantages. That's the question now.
I think that we can definitely win a game especially our first round game. The wild card round we'll win. The divisional round, depending on where we play, because we'll end up probably having to face the Eagles in the division. Probably not.
If the Eagles win their realistically, let's say Lions get 3rd seed. Obviously, the top 2 seeds would be 49ers, Eagles. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so 49ers get first round bye. Eagles go ahead and play low seed, which would be 7th. Let's go say Falcons or some shit. It doesn't matter. They'll probably beat them. Eagles win. They move on. You got your number 2 seed. You got 49ers. You got Lions. They move on. That's your 3rd seed. Then they're going to be playing the 4th seed, probably. 4th or 5th seed. And then after that, it's going to be, the Lions aren't going to be playing a higher seed in the divisional round unless perfect chaos pursues.
Fair. I personally expect the Lions to make it to the NFC Championship game. I think that they can actually upset the Eagles because we played them close last year during our worst stretch of the season. And I think our team's better this year, and Eagles are they're still a great team, but I think they're slightly worse than they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because they haven't really played a challenging opponent yet. And they've won all of their games. Even though they're undefeated, they've all been one-score games. And So I don't think we have what it takes to beat the Niners. I don't think anyone can beat the 49ers right now, at least. But I do think that we could take the Eagles.
Yeah.
I will say though, if we play San Fran in the NFC Championship game, we will do better than what Dallas just did. Let's talk about that.
You can hope so.
Because as of right now, the Lions would play the Falcons and then go on to play the 49ers.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, speaking of 49ers and the Cowboys, man. Whew.
That was a fun game to watch. It was a little revenge game for me, if you will. After
I hate the fucking Cowboys. I'm always happy to see them lose. I like the 49ers on an organizational level. So, I'm happy the 49ers whipped on the Cowboys harder than they whipped on the Steelers. That made me feel that was a moral victory right there. Yes, sir.
Made you feel good.
Maybe the Steelers defense ain't that bad.
Warm and fuzzy.
Maybe the Steelers offense ain't that bad. Maybe we just been reading the Steelers offense.
It's that bad.
The Steelers offense might actually have potential. Anyways, 49ers, Cowboys. Brock Purdy had himself a day. 4 TDs, 252 yards, 17 over 24 through the air. Jordan Mason went ahead and had himself a field day as well on 10 carries, 69 yards on the ground, TD. George Kittle took care of business as per usual. 3 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 67 yards. What else are you expecting from that beautiful man? On the Cowboys side, you're looking at one of the worst performances in Dak Prescott's career. Disgusting, utterly terrible. 14 over 24 on 153 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Had no pocket awareness. One of the ugliest quarterback performances I've seen in a while. It's bad in Dallas. Is Trey Lance going to get a start sooner rather than later if he keeps playing like this?
No.
I want to circle back to that once we finish up the wrap-up on stat. Overlook Tony Pollard, 8 carries, 29 yards, 3.6 yards per carry. No TDs. Receiving, we're looking at CD Lamb having an average game at 4 yards, 49 yards, no TDs. Kevontae Turpin, I wouldn't sign him, but he had 1 reception, 26 yards, and 1 receiving touchdown today. What are we thinking here, guys?
I think if Dallas wants to compete, Dak Prescott has to be better because he hasn't thrown for more than 270 yards, but they've scored like 10 offensive touchdowns on the year so far through 5 weeks. So they're producing points-ish, but Dak Prescott has to be better if they want to compete in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think Dak's the answer. I think Dak has hyper-inflated efficiency stats because of the type of offense that was ran the first 4 years he was in the league because of Zeke. And
they're missing him, man.
But other than that, like when he had they had an offense that was built like what was it? The season that he broke his ankle, like they had a high-powered offense where he was putting up super inflated numbers. But
you got fucking Amari Cooper and CD Lamb on the same field, dog.
Yeah.
That ain't fair.
But that's what I'm saying. Like when the difference between game managers and average QBs and actual / good QBs and actual great elite QBs is when teams take away Tony Pollard and CeeDee Lamb, the elite QBs are going to still find a way to win that game. Dak Prescott, when CeeDee Lamb and Pollard aren't doing their thing and he's forced to open the offense up, look other ways, and make plays for the offense, they're losing every single time.
Yep.
Prescott sucks. I'm going to say it. He sucks. He's extremely overrated.
But they're never going to sit him because of what they're paying him.
Mitchell Trubisky's better than Dak. Mitchell Trubisky has not almost the same, but he's not, his stats aren't far off Dak's, and he played on a far worse team his entire career as a starter. Far worse, not even close to the same.
Mitchell Trubisky is not even on the same level.
Yeah, I don't know.
Watching Mitchell Trubisky's game film.
I'm sorry, Travis. Worst take I ever heard you make. I'm sorry. Like, no, I get the perspective you're coming from. You're like, Dak Prescott, if he didn't have that elite talent around him and a good offensive scheme around him, then he wouldn't be elite. Go ahead, throw Dak on the Bears offense. How would he perform? Horribly. That's what you're saying. I see what you're saying, but here's the thing.
I think if you put
Mitch Trubisky's bad. He's my backup quarterback. I know him. I met him last week. We went out to lunch.
I would say if you put
it's a meetup thing. I don't know.
Elite QBs on that Dallas team, like if you put a T-Law or a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes or a Burrow or a Tua on that Dallas team, they're doing something.
Okay, you just named the
Yeah.
top quarterbacks in the league.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
What's your
Everyone
point?
everyone tries to loop in Dak with the elite QBs.
What about Mac Jones? What if Mac Jones was on the Cowboys? Or Daniel Jones?
I think Mac
No.
Jones would be doing better than he is right now just because he has offensive weapons on that team that he doesn't have in New England.
Yeah, I
CD
can't agree with that. Reluctantly agree.
But significantly better, I don't know. But better, yeah. But
I think the Cowboys' major fault is lies with their organization structure and Jerry Jones being the GM.
Yeah, that fucker Darth Vader, ain't he?
Jerry Jones is still living in the 90s.
I think
Yes, sir.
that is their biggest flaw. I don't think it's Dak Prescott or the coaches or the offensive scheme or anything like that. I think it's really just Jerry Jones being the general manager. I think that's holding them back from success.
But that'll never change.
It won't.
Jerry Jones won't be the owner of the Dallas Cowboys when he dies, and that's it.
Well, obviously, because
Jerry Jones is the Cowboys, bro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jones will still be the owner of the Cowboys 10 years after he died. I seen the contract he signed off last week, bro.
I would say, didn't he buy the what was it, like late 70s, early 80s when he bought the Cowboys, something like that? It might even be a whole decade early on that.
Mm-hmm.
No, keep talking. I'm getting pulled up.
Sounds good.
89.
89? Okay, yeah, because it was... Okay, yeah, because the first big thing that he did was the whole Jimmy Johnson thing and fucking the running back trade.
He got it for $140 million, which would be equivalent to almost $300 million today.
Yeah, now they're worth like $5-6 billion nowadays.
Yeah, and then Jerry Jones, his first move when he became the Dallas Cowboys head coach, you know what it was?
Trade away Dick, or what was it?
Fire Tom Landry.
Tom Landry, yeah, and then get Jimmy Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like literally, you fired one of the greatest coaches of all time as your first move. Yikes! And it's just like
wild.
Like here's the thing: the Cowboys in the '90s, they accelerated because of that cutthroat behavior.
Mm-hmm.
In these last 10 years, the Cowboys have been playing pussyfoot. They've been playing very in their shell. If Mike was the coach back in '89, would he have kept his fucking job? Fuck no, bro. If you're gonna fire Tom Landry, Tom Landry is like one of the greatest coaches of all time. When we're talking about play calling, influence on the game,
he's a top 10 coach all time. Yeah,
top 5. I'm a Steelers fan. Like for me to be giving him this credit, that means he was pretty fucking good. Okay, like the thing is, like they were tired of losing. They were tired of dealing with mediocrity sometimes, and so they cut the cord.
Mm-hmm.
But now, 40 years later, who would have guessed that Jerry Jones is the one that's settling for the mediocrity, and that's what's costing this team everything. While we talk about mediocrity, let's go ahead and talk about the mediocre game of the week. Texans, Falcons.
Texans, let's go. I love my Texans. Just kidding, my Texans.
Is CJ Stroud the runaway offensive rookie of the year right now?
110%. No says buts about it.
I don't think you can really argue against it.
Yep.
He's
the thing is,
performing far and above everyone's expectations, and he doesn't have a turnover yet.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. He's played the Ravens. He's played the Colts. He's played the Colts ain't that bad, but the Jags.
Mm-hmm.
The Jags, their defense literally just had a star-studded performance. The Steelers, who I think, and he put up 30 on the Steelers, and the Falcons, who are a good defense, and he's playing good teams, and he's playing fucking good ball.
Yeah.
Compare that to I think the only other person that's in the conversation is Anthony Richardson. Let's be honest. Bijan, Bijan's looking good, but do we think
he's been too average the last 3 weeks?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
it was the Texans defense that really lost him the game, letting up 450 yards against the Falcons.
Yeah. Bijan doesn't even have a touchdown on the year. So Bijan's not in the discussion. Jahmyr Gibbs has already missed time. Zay Flowers ain't gonna get it. what other player could possibly get Rookie of the Year? Offensive Rookie of the Year, of course. Other than CJ Stroud. So, you compare. The only comparison is going to be AR5. And honestly, like, CJ Stroud's just been better. And AR5's missed time, too. He's been great. And we're seeing that Texans team, when in the offseason, when I was hyping up the Texans and I sounded like a crackhead, this is exactly what I was talking about. They're going to keep games close. I don't think that they're necessarily going to be a playoff team. And I was saying that at the beginning of the season. I was saying that they're going to be a low-end playoff team on the bubble. And that's exactly where they are. CJ Stroud.
You and I agreed. Ben and Travis looked at us like we're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the talent, but I didn't expect him to put it together this fast. I believed in CJ Stroud. I said that he should have been the number 1 pick since day one. Carolina should have drafted him, so I'm not surprised with that. I believed in Nico Collins. Austin knows that because I was trying to snab him before he ever played a game this season before he did this. And
Tank Dell was a good acquisition that we were all praising.
I just didn't think that they were gonna put it together this quickly, but they're doing it.
Well, and it's like, very good management savvy moves, like acquiring a guy like Kendrick Green, who I hate to bring it back to the Steelers, but you're getting an upgrade on your offensive line at week 2 or week 3 mark. That's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Most teams aren't able to do that. And the Texans recognize, what was I saying in the offseason? Those gaping abysses at positions. Those horrible holes. That's what's going to lose you games. And unfortunately, that's what caused the Texans this week. Was those holes, although they aren't at 0 anymore, now they're towards 50, and that's why they only lost by 3 or 2.
Yep.
That's why they only lost by 2 was because of that. But they're going to win a lot more games. I think that they're realistically a 9-8, 8-9 team. They're going to be a bubble fringe team, and CJ Stroud's going to lead this Texans team to relative success. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited for the Texans the same way I'm excited for Colorado in college. Do you guys have anything more to say really about this game? It wasn't high scoring. It wasn't a great fantasy game.
Lady Chulo did say that she sees that puberty hit again and your voice is somewhat back to normal.
Yeah, like I got it back. I got the frequency. The issue is like I need to stay in this one frequency. So like I can't get too excited or else I'll start freaking out again. But speaking of Colorado, they won this week, went to 4-2, but their NFL partner, we unfortunately can't say a similar thing for. Cowboys or Broncos hosted the Jets. I don't know why I say Cowboys. Cow, Bronco, I don't know.
Cowgirl.
Same thing, whatever.
Same thing.
Yeah, you
Same
are
thing.
kind of an idiot, but...
Yeah, I am. I'm a fucking peasant. I recognize myself. Real recognize real, am I right? But, you want to talk about a fucking shit game. Watching the All-22 on this is one of the most boring games I have ever watched. But Russell Wilson did have a renaissance this game. He had good pocket awareness. The biggest thing for me with Russell Wilson this game was it just felt like he wasn't able to get the ball down the field, but it almost felt like it wasn't his fault. And I've been slowly, as the weeks have been going on, it feels less and less like Russell Wilson's fault and more like a play design issue than Russell Wilson. Yeah, and like people are saying Russell Wilson's washed and everything. He's got a zip on the ball. Like, I hate the term wash these days because anytime anybody beyond a down year, they wash their career over. Like, here's the thing, man. You watch Russell Wilson. Does he still get a zip on the ball? Yes. Does he still know how to recover this? Yes. Is he able to get the ball deep? Yeah. We've seen it a couple times this year, but not as much as we should. Because of those things, it's like, I have a hard time actually honestly saying that he's washed completely. But, is he the answer for the Broncos?
Short term.
Yeah.
Short term.
I think
they just were hoping that during the short-term experiment that they were going to compete rather than be this. They had a lot of high aspirations for a young defense that was overachieving and decided to sell all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there even a chance that the Broncos could turn this around somehow?
I think there's always a chance, but I think it's very slim.
I think all the injuries to Sutton and Javonte Williams, KJ Handler, and Judy, like they've all spent significant time injured the last 3 seasons. And
Like-
that really is what's fucked them, because they don't really have a lot of time together on the field, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Mhm.
And
But like here, let me mention a couple other 1-4 teams real quick. Giants, Patriots, Cardinals, Vikings, Bears. Are the Broncos able to turn it around more effectively than any of those teams?
I say
What team
I
can
think
they?
I
what
think the
team could
only
they
team
turn
that
around more effectively
potentially
than?
can turn it around better, and I'm only saying this because as of,
Giants.
even though they're 1-4, they're the most overachieving 1-4 team in the league. I think the Cardinals.
Me too. I agree with the Cardinals. I think the
I
Bears.
want to say the Vikings, but with Justin
think the
Jefferson
Vikings.
being out for the foreseeable future, I'm going to hold on that.
The thing is
Mhm.
with the Vikings though, it's a weird team because it's like you watch them, and it's just like there's fundamental issues, sure, but like you watch them and it's like, oh, they pretty good though. You know, like and with the Bears last week, like if they could keep that hand hot, like but here's the thing, like I was saying this a week or two ago. This Broncos team looks deflated.
It
You
looks
know,
sad.
when you looking at the Vikings, when you're looking at the Bears, when you're looking at the Giants, even the Patriots, when you're looking at these teams, there's some form of hope. There's some form of reason that they aren't going to go 1-16. With the Broncos, it feels like
I
they're
think
just
they're
like
ready to
laying
tank
down and
because
dying.
I would say the ownership has pretty much said that they're willing to trade everybody on the roster not named Russell Wilson and Patrick Surtain. So I think they are ready to lay it out and die, like Shane said.
Yeah, you watch them and it feels like it. You know, especially against the Zach Wilson led Jets team. You know, like Zach Wilson had a pretty good game. I'm starting to hop on the Zach Wilson Kool-Aid train, man. Like he's
2 back-to-back good games or good
back-to-back
enough.
gutsy games. Gutsy. You know, and that's the thing was, you know, with
Played
Zach
well enough
Wilson.
to not destroy Brees Hall's awesome day.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like the thing is with Zach Wilson is like I think the issue always has been with him is he wouldn't win games. And I think that was the issue is like
Mhm.
to be a quarterback, stats aside, just realistically, you're gonna have to take some hits. It's not always gonna be
Yep.
pretty. And I think that's when the best quarterbacks prove themselves. That's why I'm high in Kenny Pickett. You know, like that's why I'm high on a guy that like Joshua Dobbs right now, which we'll end up getting into. You know,
Mhm.
that's why I'm excited on those types of players. Is because they have that grit, they have that want to win, and
Mhm.
they go for it and they get it. They make it happen. You know, when you got guys like that, it makes it a lot more competitive. And Zach Wilson, I think, finally is saying, I want this team to win. And this is the first time we're seeing Zach Wilson say, all right, I'm sorry, mommies. You got to sit on the bench. I got to focus on throwing this ball. And
Yeah, I mean, it's really the
I'm
first
excited.
time it's really the first time to me at least where we've seen something from Zach Wilson back-to-back weeks. Because like previously we've seen him do well one week and then be shit for 4 or 5 weeks in a row, or whatever. But this is really the first time we've seen him be good and efficient in back-to-back weeks. And I think a
Yep.
lot of that has to do with Aaron Rodgers having that presence there with him, because Aaron Rodgers is there every day almost, even though he's injured. He's there on game
Yeah.
days. He's
He's a
there
coach.
helping out. Exactly. He's a player coach. He's very Tom Brady like in that sense, or very Peyton Manning like in that sense, where he's there, he makes his presence known, and he helps where he can. I think that's played huge dividend for Zach Wilson.
110%.
Because if you watch Hard Knocks, you saw that too as well. During,
yeah, I think you just hit it right on the fucking head with that. It's like a second coach. And I think here's the thing too. I think Aaron Rodgers recognizes what his job is with the Jets. Sure, he was supposed to be the playoff caliber quarterback that carried that team. But I think he also knew that he was going to be a mentor. And
oh yeah,
like the day that my mind was made up with that he knew what his role was and he didn't just sign that contract and it was whatever, was, Zach Wilson in the offseason said, they bring in a quarterback, I'm going to give him hell. And they came out and they're like, so has Zach Wilson gave you hell? And he's like, he's a good kid. Like, or he had a very simple response. I can't remember what he said, but it was a simple response. He kind of laughed it off, and you could tell that they were bonding. That Aaron Rodgers didn't feel threatened by Zach Wilson because I think he honestly looks at Zach Wilson, unlike Jordan Love in Green Bay. I think he honestly does look at Zach Wilson as a true protege to what he's going to leave his career with, and that's great.
I would agree. 100%.
Yeah.
What's the next game?
Next game. Wow. Do we want to go ahead and talk about Titans hope at the Colts? AR5 goes down again. Gardner Minshew has to take over the game and be the best quarterback in the NFL for another week. Minshew mania, baby. Fucking Zach Moss or Jonathan Taylor at this point, man. They got JT back, but Zach Moss is fucking balling out, being a menace to society. I wish Ben was here because this is a game I would really love to talk to him about, him being a Colts fan, Colts somehow managed to get to 3-2. I'm not surprised. In the offseason, I was saying, I'm excited about this Colts team. They got all the pieces. I didn't think that Zach Moss was going to be the secret key to it, though.
Unfortunately, I think he's slowly he's done good enough that they're not just gonna be like, all right, JT, we're gonna give you 30 plus touches the rest of the season. But I think slowly over the next 2 or 3 weeks, JT's gonna start being the lead back again.
It's gonna slowly take over.
Or is this a team that's gonna be rushing the ball 40 times a game? That could be scary.
They could, but they seem to
they had the team built to do the same thing Atlanta's doing, but better.
Yeah.
They seem to trust Gardner Minshew enough, though, too, as well. So I think
even if realistically, Minshew and AR5 is obviously more talented. But let's say that Minshew does end up getting the starting role for the rest of the season for whatever reason. Like, either quarterback, I don't give a fuck. If I got Zach Moss playing like this and a Jonathan Taylor that can simulate 70% efficiency of what he did last year, I want to give both of them 20 touches a game because you win in those games.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. You're going to. You're going to be having 300 yards on the fucking ground. They're unstoppable if they do it. The only reason that they won't is because the script writers won't let them.
I think if they do run, I see him 30 to 40 times a game. Like that's an unstoppable team because Gardner Minshew is good enough and is still a good quarterback and has proven it.
Defense.
I think that he can win it in the air too as well, and then having that back up on the ground, and then having a solid but not great defense. That's a hell of a team right there.
Yep.
Yeah. That is a division winner right there.
It all starts in the trenches, and they on both sides of the trenches, they're very, very good. Very, very good. I'd say top 5 on both sides. Specifically defensive line and offensive line. I'm not including their front 7 when I say that statement. But their offensive line and their defensive line are both very dominant units.
Very
and
good.
It's very reflective in, how Gardner Minshew's been playing. Anthony Richardson, you kind of knew the type of guy you were getting. You knew that you're going to have a little bit of injury issues. You just hope that it's not every season, and you hope that he gets a Lamar MVP caliber like season a couple times. So that's why you keep a talented quarterback like a Gardner Minshew there. And I don't know, man. If Gardner Minshew keeps winning, do you bench him when AR comes back? Like AR is obviously the long term. Let's just get that out of the way. AR5, he's the long term solution. We know that. But we're talking this season. When AR comes back, if Minshew wins every game up to that point, can you bench him? Can you?
It's hard because if you're in unexpected territory, since Jacksonville's already fucked up twice this season, Houston's playing a little bit better than people expected. And Tennessee, who they just beat in their division, is...
You're breathing through a very thin hole right now, and you're maintaining top of the division. You're tied for first.
I think they still start AR5 when he comes back, but I think
his room for error is not...
That's a dangerous game to play.
I think his room for error is not as high as it used to be if Minshew plays well and they go undefeated while he's gone. If they do come back and give AR the nod the second he's healthy. If he has a bad game and they lose first game back,
Jaguars have tiebreaker.
But yeah, that is tough. I've always thought that Minshew's a lot better than he's ever been given the chance to be, and it sucks that everywhere he lands with the chance to start, they decided to go draft a star QB instead. 2 months after
the AFC South is a powerhouse.
Yeah, I think the Titans are the weakest team in the division, just because Derrick Henry. Speaking of the Titans, Derrick Henry is slowly starting to go away, and Tyjae Spears has outsnapped him the last 2 games.
D-Hop had 140 in the year, though.
Yep, I was gonna say D-Hop finally had his first good game. I don't expect that like week in and week out, obviously, but
that's why Derrick Henry ain't looking great. Is because they're one-dimensional. You know, like it would help Derrick Henry a lot if, you know, they threw the ball better. You know, like Derrick Henry, like I think he's still got another 2 or 3 years left in the tank. I think he is starting to lose a step, but I think with the type of back he is, you know, like the thing is with Derrick Henry, he's probably the weirdest fucking NFL running back to ever grace this fucking earth, because he's not your normal between the tackle type guy. He's the type of guy that you want to get on the hashes and get one-on-one with corners. And he's weird like that because he's built like a power back. But, you know, so that step is kind of a big deal. But if he could transition his game to be a good power runner, he's still got another 5 years in the tank. And even at the current state, I still think he has 2 good years.
Yeah, I would say I do think this is the last season where he's the bell cow. I think slowly over the course of the season and this beginning next year, Tyjae is going to be the guy, but Henry can still stick around. And like you said, if he can transition to more of a power back, Tyjae works between the 20s, and the second you get within the 5-yard line, give it to Henry. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good situation to be in, huh?
Yeah. So
pretty good. Pretty good, I would say.
Yeah. Speaking of pretty good offensives,
yes,
Dolphins host the Giants. Daniel Jones, elite NFL quarterback.
Hey, you funny.
That game was closer than it should have been, in my opinion. Especially in a game where Devon Arcane and Hill played as well as they did.
Yeah,
two of his interceptions kept the game closer than it should have been.
Yeah, like, you know, like exactly, like statistically wise, but like you watch that all 22, it was ugly. It was bad. It was, I mean, for fuck's sake, one of the Giants' fucking touchdowns were a 102-yard return.
Yeah, they almost they doubled them in yardage, 7 more first downs. They had where the Giants had them they had them by 11 and almost 12 full minutes in time of possession, and then the Giants didn't commit a single turnover, and the Dolphins committed 3. Otherwise, like, you don't commit those turnovers, this game's probably 50-10.
Yeah. Like, dude, how the fuck do you have top for 36 minutes? That's an insane amount.
And lose by 2 touchdowns.
And lose by 2 touchdowns. You can't. Like, they're missing Saquon bad. And this is proving how bad. This is proving how bad that I'm going to say something a little controversial, but I don't think Daniel Jones is the issue with that passing attack. Because when Saquon's there, they're able to make it happen. But the thing is, Saquon makes it so receivers get time to break on routes. Him just being there, Saquon just existing and being alive on the football field, makes it so they hesitate a little bit. You know, like when you're playing middle linebacker, you catching these fuckers false stepping when Saquon's on the field. The Dolphins were not false stepping at middle linebacker. They were holding their gaps. They're keeping the edge surrounded. Like they weren't stressed. You know, they were able to pass rush all day. They didn't have to worry about containing. And the thing is, like, if I'm like the head of the Giants right now, I might try to make a splash trade right now because the Giants could be a playoff team.
They're got good to. Enough. I mean, they got 2 weeks left.
They
got 2 weeks left. They need a wide receiver.
I say they
They
need a wide
need
receiver bad.
need.
They've been playing without their
need.
best offensive lineman and without Saquon because they've been
And how
without
often do I
Thomas.
ever say? How often do I ever recommend a wide receiver being the solution?
all
Like
the time.
Jalen Hyatt needs to.
You're
needs
so
to.
ugly.
I would say
And you're
Jalen
so
Hyatt
stupid.
needs to.
Austin, are you still single?
Huh? Yeah, we both are.
Yeah, well, mine's by decision. You know,
Oh,
One of
no,
us-
you're-
Oh,
one of us isn't in it, so you know.
one of us is what?
only one of you went to a different country and didn't get nothing.
By decision. By decision.
No, but
Hell no.
I would say if there's a team in the league that could use a wide receiver more than the Patriots, it's the Giants.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I trust, like as bad as they are, I trust Juju more than any wide receiver on the Giants team. Yeah, they need a wide receiver. If there's somebody, I don't know. I don't even know who they should go looking for. Like, if they want to be a contender, if the Panthers want to say fuck it, here, let's just trade Thielen for 1 year. I
Yeah.
mean, but if I'm at the Giants, I'm not looking for a 1 year rental though. So
No. But you know, maybe a guy that's like a T. Higgins.
yes,
Maybe a guy that is like, I don't know, like a Joshua Downs you might be able to get for a good price.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a guy like Jameson Williams.
They could use that
Actually-
speed. They could use that speed.
I've been wanting the Lions to trade Jamison Williams in like a second round pick and try to get Patrick Surtain.
They're not gonna do
That'd be nut. They wouldn't get it, but that'd be cool
No.
as fuck if they did. While we talking
Yeah.
about bombs in other countries, how about we talk about bombs over Baghdad? Cincinnati Bengals go ahead and take it to the Arizona Cardinals. Joe Burrow returns. Jamar Chase is back. The Bengals are winning the Super Bowl. Hey, who dey? Who dey? Who dey? Shut the fuck up. I hate the Bengals.
I love the Bengals.
But they put on a fucking interesting game. You know, Cardinals, this was one of those games where it's weird. It felt like the Cardinals were in control of the game. When they had the ball, it felt like they were just calm and collected and everything was fine. But then you looked at the scoreboard and it was weird. You know, like it felt like the Cardinals were doing what they wanted. It just wasn't as efficient as it should have been. And a couple splash plays made it so the game was just out of reach for him.
Yep.
Talking about fantasy performances, you know, Joe Burrow, obviously an elite performance, 317, 36 for 46 through the air, 3-1 TD interception ratio. Mixon with 25 carry, 81 on the ground, 3.2 average. He also came up with 4 receptions, 13 yards, averaging 3.2 per catch. Jamar Chase with an elite performance, 15 receptions, 192 yards, 12.8 per carry, 3 TDs. Tyler Boyd also coming in with 6 receptions, 39 receiving yards, no touchdowns. On the Cardinals side of the ball, we did have an interesting performance. I wanted to circle on this player specifically. Joshua Dobbs with 15 for 32, 166 through the air, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. He don't throw those interceptions. Did the Cardinals win that game?
Possibly.
I think the Bengals still win it.
The game was
Interesting.
anyone's until the fourth, and then the Bengals pretty much just shut the door in the fourth quarter. It was all
Yeah.
there. And I don't know.
like the Bengals.
Regardless, the Cardinals are. I don't expect anything of them, but I like going into the season. All of us, I pretty much think like, oh, they're going to be the number 1 overall pick. They're bad. But there's like
not looking
5
like it.
teams that are 1-4, and I would argue that they're the best 1-4 team in the league. So
Yeah. I
There's
don't
the
got any
potential.
argument there.
And you got, you know, like you look at the team and it's like Rondell Moore, like he's starting to be kind of like that Falcons Cordell Patterson a couple years ago, you know, like he's lining up wide, he's lining up as a H-back, he's lining up as wide receiver, he's lining up as a tight end, you know, he's your secret weapon. They got that. Cool, that's cool. You got James Conner who's able to grind the ball. They got Mari DeMarcado or however the fuck.
I say Hollywood
Dean
Brown's been
Mercado, I
been a
think
solid,
it is.
steady,
Dean Mercado.
player as well.
Fucking 10 carries, 45 yards. You know, like between them, they got 91 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Like when you're running attacks, able to get 90 yards on the ground, that's pretty good. Joshua Dobbs did
great.
not have the best game, but you know, one of those things too is like, I really like Dobbs.
He's been
really
playing really good
He's
Like,
not the
compared to what we
problem.
expected.
he's
No.
like, and when Kyler comes back, like I hate to keep on bringing up these injured players and like when they come back. But Joshua Dobbs, like, he's just playing better than Kyler ever did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what anybody says. You can look at the stats. It doesn't fucking matter. When you're watching the tape,
out of Kyler's entire career, there's maybe only one season where you could say that that he played better than what Dobbs is doing right now, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's when he has fucking DeAndre Hopkins and a miracle fucking worker, and he put down the Call of Duty for a few weeks.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
like
fair.
I'm excited for Joshua Dobbs. Bengals are in their win. I'm excited for where the Cardinals are going to go. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Cardinals go over 500 by the end of the season.
Is Hollywood Brown? I mean, he's currently wide receiver 12. I don't expect that to stay, but does he stay as a top 24 wide receiver for the rest of the season? Is he's a solid play? Because he normally,
I think he's had
multiple seasons where he's started off hot like this, where through 5-7 weeks he's top 10 to 15.
Both the times that happened.
Yeah, and then he fades off. But does he actually stay there this time?
I think he's top 12.
Okay.
Barring injury, obviously. I think he's top 12 still. And to answer your question, 24, definitely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a guy, if you got him on your roster, he's at worst your wide receiver 2.
Mm-hmm.
At worst. You know.
I think at worst he finishes like 18th on the year.
Yeah.
At the absolute worst, I would say.
He's been pretty consistent. I mean, he's not getting a ton. Like, he's not getting 5+ receptions every game, but he's been efficient with every touch that he gets, and he's been almost a lock for a touchdown every single week. So I don't necessarily expect the touchdown run to continue. Like, I don't expect him to finish with 12+ touchdowns on the year or anything like that. Yeah. But if he's going to be a solid, 4 for 50 every single week, then all you need is that touchdown every other week.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with it.
Talking about, bad teams, maybe we could talk about a good one for a little bit of a change of pace. How about them Eagles?
Yeah.
Took it to the Rams at home. Rams were at home. Jalen Hurts racked up 375 yards total, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. AJ Brown had a fucking field day.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift was solid. Matthew Stafford, he put on a really good performance. 222 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions. Rushing attack wise, they looked abysmal for Los Angeles. What are we thinking here, boys? I think this was like kind of a boring game. Like when I was watching it, it was a more defensive oriented game, and it just felt like the Eagles just kind of had it. It felt like the Rams came in and they weren't like, we're gonna beat you. They're like, we're gonna put up points on you and not let you whoop us too bad. That's kind of what the vibe was.
We're gonna put up a fight, but not too hard of a fight to win.
Yeah, like they only had the ball for 22 minutes that game, man.
Yep.
I just think that the Eagles, like I said, I think they're slightly worse this year, slightly, not a lot, than last year. But their thing that they're doing this year is I feel like they're playing down to their opponents this season.
I feel like they're the Michigan of the NFL right now,
where they're gonna win, but they're not winning the way you want them to.
Yeah,
the way that they're capable of with what you see on paper, and whether that's because the Rams are playing better right now than I expected them to, possible.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't think it's the defense is good. The defensive line is arguably deeper and better, and their linebacking core is the same. But I think that what's slowing them down a bit is they're incorporating the running backs more because Swift's emergence.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas like they ran a lot last year with the running backs, but none of them were as efficient as what Swift's doing right now. And so they're learning that while also the secondary has gotten worse. I think their secondary is not top 7 like it was last year anymore. It's more middle of the pack to 20+.
Mm-hmm.
And it's being shadowed and it's being covered up a little bit because they got a good front 7 or great front 7. And I think that's going to hurt them when they play the other elite teams. Like that's why I think the Lions can beat them, because they have the offensive line in the trenches to stack up against their line to give Goff enough time in the pocket to beat that secondary.
Yeah.
I could
And
see it.
but I don't know. They're still a great team. You know, they played in the Super Bowl and they're still undefeated. So until someone beats them or they look really bad, I'll just give them the benefit of the doubt for right now. But they're definitely a sus 5-0 team. Not to the same degree your Steelers were the other year when they were 11.
Don't be talking shit. Don't be talking shit. Don't be talking shit right now. Mapletron looked sweet that season, bro.
Shut the
Hey,
fuck up. Shut up.
Mapletron guys. Hey,
Shut up.
Mapletron
where's
guys.
the
Joey Porter Jr.
Where's the kick button?
But no, but I think I mean, I like it from a fantasy perspective because I have Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. I like it a lot, but for them to blow the doors off people offensively, Devontae Smith can't be fourth in the pecking order targets wise 2 weeks in a row.
That's true.
That
That's
can't
true.
agree. I mean,
But, you know,
not
it goes
saying
back to
Goddard
AJ
and
Brown
Brown and
being
Swift.
elite.
Yeah, I would say AJ Brown's elite. Goddard's one of the 7 best tight ends in the league. And
I was saying in the offseason, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if AJ had more targets and receptions and yards, you know, because it's just like he's that good. He just the thing is like Devontae is like, yeah, he's that flashy first round pick. He's your guy. But here's the thing, they went and got AJ Brown, who was the Titans guy, and then you got 2 teams guys. You got 2 top 10 wide receivers. It's a great position to be in. And I agree with you, Travis. Like you do need to be feeding the ball down the field more to your talented guys. You need to get them the ball. That's how you fucking go ahead and blow the doors off these teams, like the Dolphins.
Eventually they will.
Like the 49ers have been. Yeah.
Like the Eagles will to the Lions. It's fine though.
Ooh.
Wild.
Not wild.
I mean, I
Because
wouldn't
the
be
NFC
I mean, I
It's
wouldn't be
not wild.
surprised if the
it's
Eagles
just-
beat us, but like
Lions are just one of the few teams I pray for their downfall. That's all.
because you're a closet Bears fan.
I don't know why. It's just like Lions, Michigan, Baker Mayfield. I pray for their downfall.
Well, you're a Michigan State fan and you're a closet Bears fan. That makes sense.
Not really a closet Bear fan. I've said it. I wouldn't call myself a fan, but I enjoy watching them mainly because
I like the Bears.
my whole dad's
The
side of the
Bears.
family is Bears fans, so it's like I have
That's
some
fair.
love for the Bears. You know, so it's like
Do we expect
and then
this
of course
Rams
the
team?
Cowboys.
Do we think this Rams team, with San Fran being in front of them, being who they are, and Seattle playing well, is there a small chance that the Rams make the playoffs?
Yes,
Because they're
Yes.
playing better
Yes.
than expected.
Yes.
100%.
Puka being this good, yes.
I mean,
There's a chance.
we had 3 teams from the NFC East last season make the playoffs, so I think this year it's the West because I don't think the Commanders or the Giants are making the playoffs this year. It's just gonna be the Eagles and maybe the Cowboys.
Yeah,
I want to say maybe the Cowboys, but but
Cowboys will still probably make it.
I think it's gonna be San Fran, Eagles, Lions, and then the Bucks at this point right now. But I'm not sure. No, I said New Orleans to start. I'm gonna say New Orleans. So New Orleans, and then was there 7 seeds now?
Yep.
Was there 7 playoff teams now? So 5 would be Seattle. Yeah,
All right, Mr. Sports Analyst. Don't even know how many playoff teams there is.
and 6, and then 6 would be Tampa, whoever's the second seed in the NFC North, or then the Rams. That's
It's like
I can
currently
see
how
it.
it stands is San Fran, Eagles, Lions, Bucks, Seahawks, Falcons, Cowboys. That's how it currently stands through 5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, but actually, I want to circle back to this segment we just started at the end of the episode. So here's what I'm thinking for the rest of the episode. We got 1 week left, Packers, Raiders, or 1 game left. Let's go ahead and go over that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and go over Broncos, Chiefs, because that game's going to be tomorrow. So we get our prediction done. Then how about we do a rapid fire through week 6, win, loss, real quick, and then we go ahead and wrap up talking about the current playoff picture.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Good.
All
Just a
right.
little quick sit start thing. I'm down.
Yep. So Packers, Raiders, and this was the least exciting game to talk about this week for me. Like it was just like this was just so mediocre. Packers, Raiders. It was just like whatever. Like both. Max Crosby's a stud, Did you guys know that? Jordan Love's questionable as a starting quarterback. Did you guys know that? Jimmy Garoppolo is a great field manager. Did you guys know that? It's just a basic
Jordan Love
fucking game.
overrated.
I did say that I expected the Packers to win 28-17. I did call the Raiders score right, but
Yeah,
they won
you did.
instead.
Yeah,
They're
they
just
also
so-
had 3 interceptions to help them get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
you know,
so over-
Jacoby Myers. Did you guys,
Did
did you
pretty
guys
well.
start Jacoby Myers? I like him.
I would say
I think
I don't
he's
have
good.
him. Travis H has him in our league, and he has been starting every week. He's been
Mhm.
solid. I think he's a
I think he's a
solid
wide receiver too.
I would say he's
He's
a
a
low end
solid
wide receiver
player.
2, high end wide receiver 3, and a flex floor. He's a very
Yeah.
solid player. He's
Yeah.
doing what everyone thought Hunter Renfrow was going to do for that offense.
Yeah, because he had 75 and a tutty. So
He's more athletic than Renfrow. So
I was saying it during the offseason, you know, I don't know what the hell the Patriots were thinking, getting rid of Myers and then signing Juju to the same exact deal that Myers got. Like, Jacoby Myers is just the better receiver at this point. Like, the thing is with Juju is, like, he had Ben Roethlisberger passing him the ball. You got it, like, love him, hate him, Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. You got a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback passing you the ball, you know, you're going to look a little bit better no matter what.
Yep.
Jacoby Myers had fucking Mac Jones passing him the ball, and he still looked like a borderline Pro Bowl caliber player. Now he's got Jimmy Garoppolo passing him the ball. And I think he's going to end up looking the same exact way by the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, but even bigger than that, though, is like the play calling for the Raiders has been so much better than the Patriots play calling, especially going back to last year. Because you had Bill Belichick at times, and then you had, what's his fucking name? Why am I forgetting names right now? Jesus Christ. The defensive coordinator for a long time.
Mercury must be in retrograde.
Old Lions head coach.
Oh, Matt Patricia.
Matt Patricia calling offensive plays, which is just
He's
fucking wild.
I think honestly,
right?
he's one of the greatest coaches to ever grace this planet.
Like that's, I think of that.
I loved it when he was in Detroit.
A lot to do with why Jacoby Myers looked not worth
Bad.
the contract last year.
Yeah,
I think that had a lot to do with it. This year with the Raiders, he's on a better scheme, frankly, better team. He's actually been able to show his talent a lot more than he was.
If anyone ever says Matt Patricia was a good coach again, I'm going to just jump off this roof.
Okay, Matt Patricia was a good coach.
He was the best coach ever. He's better than Madden. He's better than Chuck Noll. He's better than Bill Belichick. Come on, jump!
Live stream. I'm just kidding.
Content. No,
Shane is screaming about content. So here we go.
I do be screaming about content, don't I? All right. I think that's a wrap on that week. Any last sentiments that we didn't get to cover?
Jordan Love sucks.
Jordan Love sucks.
Yeah, overrated as fuck.
Yep. All right.
And who's the wide receiver long term for Green Bay? Because we haven't actually had a chance to really see
Christian
all
Watson.
three of them on the field together. They've all taken turns being hurt.
It's Watson. I think Watson's the answer. I think he's. You can see on his route running. You can see on his ability of separation. You can see on his ability of speed. Like, you could see that he is able to read the field and he's doing it effectively at a high level. Christian Watson is not the issue on that offense, and I think he has earned that respect as wide receiver 1. You know,
Okay.
He's got Jordan Love throwing him the ball, though.
I think Christian Watson long term, but this year, maybe into next year, Romeo Doubs.
That's fair.
I would probably say.
I don't know if he takes over for Watson, man. I just can't see that.
I don't think so. Not long term, but I think in the short term, it's Doubs.
It could be. I just
Personally.
don't. I think it's already over for Dobbs.
I think I get your argument and I understand it and I agree with it. I just think
we can agree to disagree. That's fine. I'm not trying to
just for like the rest of this year is Romeo Doubs. I think personally, just because of what he's displayed on the field and what chemistry he already has with Jordan Love. Like the rest of this year, I think it's Dobbs' job to lose, but long term it is Christian Watson. I think he's the much better receiver and the better talent.
But that's where I'm at. I think that Watson has already done it. I think he already took the job.
That's fair. We can agree to
that's just
on that one.
Yeah. Broncos Chiefs. Is there much to talk about actually with this game?
No, I think the only thing we're going to talk about is do the Broncos keep it within 30?
Do you start Russell Wilson this week? Actually, let's have a real
Yes.
conversation about
In
that.
2 QB leagues, yes, I think he's currently like QB 8 in our league actually on the season.
I think the Chiefs' defense is weak enough that you can start him.
I agree. Do you start Jerry
Personally-
Judy this week?
Probably start Cortland Sutton over Judy. Personally,
Everybody always says that, and then fucking Cortland Sutton only scored 10 points every week.
I don't trust anyone.
In and out.
on
Every week.
the Broncos offense. The only one I'm
outside
playing
of
is
Russell Wilson is the only one I'd be confidently starting. But if I needed like another wide receiver, I'd probably put in Cortland Sutton over Judy.
So what final score prediction? Go ahead and call it right now.
38 Chiefs, 10 Broncos.
42-17 in favor of the Chiefs.
30-24
All right.
in favor of the Broncos.
Ooh,
Every
spicy.
dog has their day. Every dog has their day, man.
That's true.
And you know, like
Line
here's
set
the
there
thing.
is
Here's my thing. Like this Broncos team, they're
Tossed.
playing the Chiefs. It's a divisional matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me, like divisional matchups, especially a good game, like you know, Broncos Chiefs, that gets an audience. It's one of those games. It's hard for me to like look at the scale as like if the Chiefs were playing the Broncos and they weren't a divisional matchup, 70% Chiefs. But because it's a divisional matchup, it brings it down to like 60%. Broncos kind of got hot later in that game last week, and the Chiefs aren't necessarily looking like world breakers. They just look very good.
Don't let
if there's
Nick
a
Wright
way
hear
to
you
do
say
it,
that.
it's on Thursday night in a divisional matchup. Like there's a chance. There's a chance.
I can see it.
With that
So
being said,
we're firing up Pacheco. We're firing up Mahomes. Firing up Kelsey.
yep.
You're firing up Russ in 2 QB leagues. And that's probably the only one I'd start on the Broncos. And then take
The only one I want to start for sure.
And
wide
no
receiver. Any wide
wait, not
receiver
no
or
fan.
dart throw for Kansas City?
Dart throw?
Any wide receiver, if you had the flex one from Kansas City, who would you choose this week?
Kelsey?
That's a cheat.
If I could
I
start
agree.
Kelsey at wide receiver?
I think Rice has been the most consistent.
Don't you mean Swift? Travis Swift?
Maybe Justin Watson? Or she
Can we take
Rice? All right, Shane, why don't you lead us off with the rapid fire?
All right, Ravens, Titans. Ravens.
Yep,
Ravens win it. Easy.
Panthers,
Start-
Dolphins.
Panthers, Dolphins.
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 You're
Dolphins,
starting
yeah.
Hill, Tua,
Waddle.
fuck everyone
Yep.
else. Yeah, Waddle, I guess.
You want to
whatever.
reverse to the Ravens, Titans real quick? I didn't give you a chance to start and sit. Who you starting sitting on Ravens, Titans?
Lamar, Mark Andrews, Titans.
Flowers?
No,
I'm starting Flowers this week because I don't like the Titans secondary.
Titans.
I think this is a blow-up game.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be, but
It's
Sure,
at
Flowers-
9:30 a.m., bro. Some
I'm,
weird shit's about to happen.
8:30 a.m. Actually, thank you.
I'm going to
Okay,
say
you
something.
fucking
I'm going to
loser.
say you don't play. I'm going to say Andrews, Lamar, flex, Flowers, and I think you don't start Tannehill this week at all. But I think you flex both Tyjae Spears and Derrick Henry, especially with the chatter that's been coming out of Tennessee today.
Nah, I'm still only on one or the other.
Fair. That's fair.
Tannehill, if you need a quarterback, otherwise just plop him on your bench.
Yeah, 110%. Saints, Texans.
Ooh.
CJ Stroud, Nico Collins,
Yeah.
Tank?
maybe
I'm
Tank
starting
Dell.
Tank. I'm
if you
starting
need
Tank
him.
on flex.
Tank Dell.
On the
if you
Saints
need
side of the
him.
ball,
Chris
Yeah.
Olave, Kamara
Yep.
with the work he's been getting.
yep.
Oh, Kamara's
Derek Carr,
RB.
I think is.
Derek
I
Carr.
think Derek Carr could start this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly,
At the end of the day, though,
no,
at the end of,
I'm wrong. No, don't start
Any-
Carr
any
this
love
week.
for
The Texans
Michael Thomas
defense
this
been too
week?
Good.
at the end of the day, I think the
No.
Texans win it like 31-14. I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be like a mild blowout type of game.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I just
gonna
think
have
the
to agree
Texas
with that.
defense is too good for the Saints to overcome. I don't like the Saints' chances in this game, unfortunately.
I'm
Texans.
going to actually say that the Saints are going to win a close one, 24-21.
I'm taking
That's fair.
Texans.
I wouldn't be
You think
surprised
it's
if Texas win because of the way they've been playing.
Commies,
But
Falcons.
Falcons.
I'm gonna take
Actually,
Falcons.
you know what? I'm going
we
Commanders.
still got another episode this week. So on Friday, we're going to be getting in depth. So quick starts and sits.
I like
ain't doing
Commanders.
analyze because we want content. Don't be giving up our content right now, bro. Come on.
I like Commanders in this. I think the Commanders got a good
I'm just
enough.
teasing you, Travis. By the way,
I think the Commanders got a good enough offense and a good enough offense to win.
I do too. I just don't trust them right now. Ron Rivera seems checked out to me. I think Atlanta's gonna have a bounce. This will be their bounce back. Bijan's gonna have a bounce back game, I think, too. Desmond Ridder arrived last week. I think Atlanta wins an ugly game this week, 24-17.
I think it's gonna be like 24-21. Commanders win.
I think 14-10 Commanders.
That's fair.
We start in Bijan. We start in Howell. We start in.
That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe Ridder, but I desperation shot would be Ridder for me.
My desperation would be Pitts just because he finally had a decent week last week.
Yeah, I would say last season. That was a little bit good.
I mean, it feels like it, right?
But yeah, that's mine.
All right, Colts, Jaguars.
What about you? Colts.
Colts, Jaguars. Yeah, let's go ahead and hop into that.
Sure.
I don't know. I personally don't start anybody from that game. I don't think it's gonna be a good game fantasy wise. It's just one of those games. It's gonna be too low scoring. It's not going to be able. I don't think yards are going to be coming in plenty, and points alone, definitely aren't going to be coming in plenty. With that being said, that's my position on it.
I would start T-Law and Travis Etienne on the Jack side of the ball.
I was talking about Commanders Falcons, by the way.
Yeah,
when I said,
Commanders Falcons. Okay, I thought we moved on to the Jags and the Indy already.
Austin, you literally said, "What about you, Shane?"
Yeah,
but then he said the next game already. So
I said, "Oh my bad." I literally said, "Oh my bad."
Oh, I didn't hear that. I'm deaf as hit.
Yeah, you're dumb as fuck. You fucking
deaf. There's a difference.
I'm gonna get you so many crayons, bro.
Colts, Jags.
Colts, Jags win.
Jags
win pretty handily.
28-21.
Actually, after talking, I think there's a chance the Colts could actually do it. Now I'm thinking about it a little bit more.
Depends on which Jacksonville shows up. Non-London or...
True.
That's
the thing is, with the Jags, it's I'm not confident in them, but I'm feeling more and more confident with the Colts every week.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts are starting to leave the sleeper territory to be just good. And the Jaguars, I don't feel are proving that they're a good team right now. I don't. They are a good team.
If they come in and steamroll the Colts after beating Buffalo, then I'll start being okay, maybe they're turning the corner again. But
yeah,
I want to see them do it.
Yeah,
we firing up T-Law, we firing up Etienne.
That's about it from the Jags.
No Ridley or Kirk.
I think you can.
But I'm taking them on flex, but I don't feel comfortable starting them against this Colts defense that's been pretty good.
I think it's going to be spread around a lot more.
Yeah,
than some people may think. I don't think it's going to really go to all one person, or mostly one player. I could see 80 and a tutty, which would be good, but not great. That's definitely your starting lineup worthy, but I just don't foresee that really happening.
100%.
And then the Colts, I mean, the way Gardner Minshew's played his last two starts, I'd probably start him up if I needed a quarterback. I wouldn't be trusting it confidently, but I would play him if I needed to start a quarterback. Maybe Michael Pittman for the Colts.
I like Pittman in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the way Zach Moss has been running the ball and then getting JT back.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some receivers open this week.
You start Zach Moss? Put him in your lineup?
I'm flexing JT and Moss this week. I don't know. I don't know how the work's going to shake up yet. I don't know if JT's going to... We already did that one.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I missed. Seahawks. Bengals.
You dumbass.
My cursor moved.
God, Jesus Christ.
I was like, I thought we just talked. Like in my head, I literally thought to myself, I was like, I thought we just talked about Commanders Falcons, and I decided to trust myself. And then
Well, you're wrong.
Okay, let me take off the sunglasses. I'm not fucking around anymore. Okay.
All right. Do you see that? Hold on. Do you see that door behind you? Let's walk through it. All right. Anyways, what game did you say was next? Oh, I forgot where we left off.
This is gonna be the last
Seahawks
episode
Bengals.
of the podcast. I hate fucking talking to you guys. You guys are my worst enemies. I hate you. I take the glasses. I need to put my sunglasses back on so I can just fucking get some kind of fucking contraceptive from you guys hitting my eyes. Oh my god.
You're
so
welcome.
fucking
So you
ugly.
said
It hurts.
Seahawks Bengals.
Seahawks, Bengals, quick.
All right.
Bengals win it.
Bengals,
Burrow.
30-24.
Burrow, Chase Higgins. And then Walker and DK.
Travis, go.
I say same for the starts for Burrow, Chase Higgins, Walker, and DK, but I think Seattle actually pulls this off 30-27.
I would love that. Vikings, Bears. Battle 1-4 for the NFC North.
I think the Bears take this. No JJ. Bears are going to surprise. Vikings defense is. I think the Vikings defense is arguably their bottom 3 defense.
They're bad. They are bad.
Denver's defense is the only one I might say without questions worst.
Mm-hmm.
And the way Justin Fields and DJ Moore looked last week, I don't feel good about the Vikings, especially with no JJ and no running game.
Vikings win it in my book.
Okay,
I'm gonna pick the Vikings.
That's fair.
I'm taking Bears.
I'll take
49ers, Browns.
49ers, Browns.
Who are you taking,
49ers.
Travis, real quick? Vikings, Bears.
49ers.
Who are you taking?
In Vikings Bears, I'm going Bears. In the Vikings.
Okay,
Bears.
49ers,
He already said it.
Browns.
He already said it. Jesus.
I just want to double check. He was finishing
Oh
his
my
statement.
God.
I cut him off because I was being a dickhead.
No, you're good.
Dickhead.
So San
Yeah,
Fran,
you're ugly.
Cleveland,
49ers.
San Fran, 49ers, 49ers by 25.
Yeah, I
49ers
was gonna say
by
20,
30.
25-30. And you start Brock Purdy, you start Christian McCaffrey.
You don't
It's gonna
start
be
any.
ugly.
You literally don't start anybody.
There will be elf blood.
Maybe you start
I'd
Amari
probably
Cooper.
start Cooper.
I would say maybe Amari Cooper. That's about it.
I'd probably start him.
Patriots, Raiders.
So the 2 teams that are going to be in the XFL next year, yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding. Jesus Christ. Patriots, the only one I'm thinking about is Ramondre.
Yeah, that's the
Only one
that
I'm
I would-
considering.
and that'd be a flex for me. And then you start Devontae Adams, you flex Jacoby Myers, and then you start Josh Jacobs just because of the capital you put into him.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Exactly.
And then
Lions, Bucks.
Lions, Bucks. You start Goff, you start Amon-Ra, you start
fuck the
Laporta, you
Bucks.
start Monty. You start
I think
all
Lions
of
take
them.
care of business. It's gonna be.
I think the
big.
Lions win handily by 14. I'm not going to say any more than that, just because the Bucks
The
can
Bucks
be
defense
pretty.
is good.
The Bucks defense is good, and Mike Evans, I think, can give our defense some problems. But you sit Rashad White this week. We have the number 1 rush defense right now, and Baker in a 2 QB league you can play, and then I think you can flex Godwin and Evans.
Yep. I agree.
100%.
But Lions take care of business. I think 31-17.
Cards, Rams.
Mm.
Cardinals.
Cards, Rams. I'd be starting Joshua Dobbs. Hollywood
I'm
Brown.
taking cards.
Start both QBs.
I like the Cards. I like their odds, but I think the Rams are going to win it. Rams,
Yeah.
you start Matthew Stafford, Puka, Cooper Kupp,
and Kyron Williams.
Karen Williams.
And
Maybe
I think
Tuka- maybe
Higby
Tuka
somebody
if you
can
need
throw
another wide
into.
receiver.
I think you can start Higby for a tight end this week as well.
You could,
Well,
yeah.
Eagles, Jets.
Rams take care of business.
I'm
27
taking
24.
cards. I'm taking cards by
I
10.
wouldn't be surprised the way they're playing, honestly.
Mm-hmm. What was the
Eagles,
next game you
Jets.
said? Eagles,
Eagles.
Jets, Eagles easy. I think
Eagles.
you easily start Jalen Hurts, Goddard, Brown, maybe Smith. Smith has been up and down this year. I would think about DeMonte Smith with those other 3 players that I said. I would definitely confidently start. Sitting Zach
Travis.
Wilson, starting Brees Hall.
I'm starting Brees Hall. I'm starting Garrett Wilson this week, actually, because I don't believe in Phil. As much as it's going to hurt me to say it, because a huge part of my personal fantasy team success is the Eagles' offense, because I have Hurts and AJ Brown. I think this is a game that the Eagles can lose. They're playing in New York. The Jets
Playing
have
in
a
LA.
defense capable of doing it. They're playing in New Jersey, but Meadowlands. But I think the Jets actually upset the Eagles this week. I something just seems right about it.
I
An
don't
ugly
think they
game
can.
too, like 21-17 for no reason.
Okay.
That's an interesting take.
I can
Giants
vibe
Bills.
with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here
Bills
for it.
easy.
Oh, yeah.
Giants.
I don't think the Giants have a
Ooh.
shot.
Giants
I
by
think
3.
I think
Saquon comes back. I think Giants by 3.
I knew you were ugly.
Yeah, I am.
I mean, I hope Saquon plays well, because I got him. But if he comes back, but I think the Bills win quite handily in this one.
Are you starting him his first week back?
I have no
Saquon?
choice.
Fuck
My
yeah.
running back depth, yeah.
Fuck yeah, I'm starting Saquon week 1 back. Dude, if you got Saquon on your team, who else you got?
All right, Travis, you better start him.
I am. Him and Derrick Henry are
Cowboys.
starting.
Chargers.
Chargers. This one's hard because
Let's go.
the Chargers are the Cowboys of the AFC. I swear to God.
They are. They are.
Starting Dak and CeeDee Lamb. That's about
But
it.
Justin
for the Cowboys.
Herbert's actually good. I'm going to put that out there.
That's true.
Starting Herbert, Austin Eckler if he plays.
Eckler's playing. He back.
Mike Williams.
Mike
Williams supposed
Mike's
to be
out
coming
for the
back.
season.
He's
is
done.
he?
He's done.
he
so
tore
I
his
don't know why
ACL.
I have it stuck in my brain that he had like a 2 to 3 week injury.
He's been done
Who
for
the
like
hell?
2 weeks, man.
Yeah, but
Remember, I was saying this last week too.
Yeah,
I was literally saying I thought he had a 2 to 3 week injury.
Idiot.
Yeah. So you start Herbert, Eckler, and Keenan Allen, and then
What about Quinn Johnson?
you could flex him. I think you can flex him this week.
Okay. Shane, what about you?
Man, I'm starting. I
I
think this is a shootout. So I like any big name that you can go ahead and get. I'm starting Dak this week.
I'll say
I'm starting Justin Herbert this week. Starting Austin Eckler. I'm starting
Pollard,
Pollard.
CD.
I'm starting CD. I'm starting. I'm just starting everybody that I can in this game. This is going to be like one of those 35,
I like
42
Michael Gallup
type
in
games.
this game too.
Yeah, I could see it. Damn.
I think I don't think that this will be a war of nutrition. I think it's just going to be nuclear warfare. And I'm excited to see it.
That being said, Chargers 38, Cowboys 35.
Yep.
Cowboys 42, Chargers 35.
Chargers 42, Cowboys 35.
Okay.
Little bitch asses. All right, Travis.
All right. Wait,
Fuck
we
you,
still got playoff picture.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
AFC side, right now, Chiefs, number 1 seed. Dolphins, number 2 seed. Steelers, number 3 seed. Jaguars, number 4 seed. Colts, number 5 seed. Ravens, number 6 seed. Bills, number 7 seed. What do we think of there? I don't think if the Steelers keep playing like this, there's no way they hold on to that. There's just not a way.
I think the teams that are gonna make the playoffs are all there, but I think the seeding will be different by the end of the season.
So you don't think the Chargers could squeeze in? You don't think the Bengals squeeze in?
I think the
Bengals are gonna have the hardest time doing it, just because I'm not fully trusting their defense.
I think the Bengals and Chargers squeeze in and take like Jacksonville and the Colts spot. Or not Jacksonville, the Colts and the Steelers spot.
I can see that. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's exactly where I'm at. I think the Steelers do have the aces in their sleeve right now. They are in control. And that does help. But if they can't figure out their offensive woes, they're not going to be a playoff team. They're just not going to
survive.
Yeah, like right now they're if the Steelers defense was playing with the Steelers offense that was like half as good, like we'd be talking about the Steelers defensive unit like it's one of the best defenses of all time.
Yeah.
But because they are letting up 30 points on both those losses because they're just getting fucking annihilated because their offense is just like not helping them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Steelers are looking like an 8-9, 9-8 team at this point. Like they need to buckle down, and their offense needs to come out and get them an additional 2 or 3 wins if they want to keep that playoff spot.
Yep.
With the Colts, I think that they're a team that can go ahead and keep that spot. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the division. I think only one AFC South team ends up making it though, because I think the Bengals end up coming back in too hot, and it's going to be a little bit scary, you know. And you know, I think there's a chance that the Steelers make it, and that last spot ends up being like Steelers or Chargers. From what I'm looking at, those are the changes that I'm going to be making on the AFC side. NFC side,
I like
Travis,
it.
did you want to say anything, by the way?
No, I kind of agree. I mean, I can see the Chargers sneaking in. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals end up coming back and winning the division, but especially now that Cleveland doesn't have an offensive identity with Chubb gone. But if the Steelers can somehow figure their offense out at all, then it's going to be hard because the Steelers' defense is 10 times what Cincy says.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm less confident in Cincy coming back and winning the division, but I wouldn't be surprised, I guess. But
I could see it.
I don't think that they could be at the Ravens. I think the Ravens are like the Steelers can win this division. I think the Steelers have full control of this division. Their offense can pull their head out of the ass halfway. Like that's what that is. Is like the Steelers can win this division. I think the Steelers can realistically be a first seed in the AFC if they just get a decent offense, because their defense is that good. Like, dude, their defense has like fucking 21 or 28 points on the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like not off turnovers. Like 3 touchdowns, 3 or 4 fucking touchdowns. They're averaging like a TD a week. Like your defense can't be that good and you still have 2 losses.
yes,
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Like if the Steelers offense even plays at a level where they're getting 300 yards per average, 300 yards a game on average throughout the rest of the season, they could actually get the first seed in the AFC North. But because their offense is not going to do that, and that's not a realistic scenario, like the Steelers are going to be fighting for their fucking lives between 6 and the bubble. Like that's just where they're at. And because of that, you know, that's where the Chargers are going to slip in. That's where the Bengals are going to slip in. With that being said, let's hop over to the NFC side. 49ers lead it off with number 1 seed, Eagles number 2, Lions number 3, Bucks number 4, Seahawks number 5, Falcons number 6, Cowboys number 7. You got teams on the bubble like the Saints, Packers, Rams, Commanders, Bears. That's the order of the bubble currently. What are we thinking? And also, should I say, this is an interesting stat. I want to cut in with this before we get into anything else. There are 5 teams in the NFC that are 1-4 or worse, and there's only 2 in the AFC.
I would say I think the teams on the bubble, the only 3 teams in the NFC that have a chance on the bubble are the Saints, Bears, and Rams.
You don't think Commanders could pull it off?
No. Their defense.
You don't think they could win the division?
No.
By chance? You don't think they could take out the Eagles, bro?
No.
Seriously?
I don't think they're gonna even get second. I think Cowboys are gonna finish second in the division again.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Fuck the Bucks. Let's go Saints.
It's about where I'm at.
I feel it.
It's about where I'm at with this.
I think we know what teams are, barring injury right now. I think we've there's a couple teams I still think figuring out their identity a little bit, but for the most part, I think we know what teams are right now.
Yeah, I think the Falcons are going to go ahead and win that division in the South. And then I really would not be surprised to see that the Saints creep in and somehow the Bucks end up missing the playoffs after starting 3-1. I could see that. I think it's a lock that the Lions win the North at this juncture. They've proven it.
It's
that they play at this consistent level. It's theirs to lose, exactly. Same thing with the Eagles, 49ers. You know, like I feel like our top 3 seeds are set. They could shuffle between those 3. I think the Lions, you can honestly have a conversation with the Lions right now and say there's a chance that they take the number 1 seed.
Yeah, especially since the Eagles and 49ers play each other in the regular season still.
Yep. And also, what was the Lions' 1 loss on the year? It's against the Seahawks.
Seahawks, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which
is that
over
is
the
that a
last 3
divisional loss?
seasons since we've been
Wait,
playing better, no, it's
Is
not.
the Seahawks a divisional loss?
Nope.
Oh shit! So like,
It's just a conference loss. It's like the 4th tiebreaker.
yeah. So like, you're looking at it like that. It's like 49ers do have a tough division. Eagles do have a tough division. Like, the Eagles do have to play the Cowboys twice a year. The 49ers have to play the Seahawks twice a year.
Mhm.
And God forbid, like the Rams end up pulling off an upset like they tend to do once a season against the 49ers. Or God forbid, like the Commanders pull off their annual upset of the best team in the division. Like
Yeah.
now that's a real conversation that the Lions are the number 1 seed in the NFC. Like this is a realistic scenario because when you go ahead and flip that conversation over to the NFC North,
one divisional
apply.
upset, and then the fact that the 49ers
just
and Eagles
doesn't
have to
apply
play
the
each
same
other
way.
still. Yeah.
Like, because can the Lions beat the Packers efficiently? Fuck yeah, they can.
Yep.
Can the Lions beat the Bears efficiently? Fuck yeah,
Fuck
they
yeah.
can. Can the Lions beat the Vikings efficiently? Yes. I don't like it will have to be a big upset for them to even like lose a divisional game this season. And because of that, like I think the Lions had the most control in the NFC.
Mhm.
Even though they're the 3rd seed.
Yeah.
I think as the season goes
I
on,
would
we'll
argue
see that
that.
move.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I like the situation for the Lions. I will say that they're not the best team in the NFC, even though they have the most control. I still think San Fran is
I agree.
the favorite
Easily.
in the NFL overall. But I do think the road to them finishing at the 1 seed is a very realistic one, like you said. The
Mhm.
Eagles and San Fran play against their divisional opponents or juggernauts, and they have to play each other too. So like one of them are taking a loss guaranteed because they play each other. So
Yep. Unless they tie.
yeah.
Stop it. Stop it.
So like it's very real. Like at worst, if the Lions sneak into the 2nd seed, because whatever team loses between in that game, if that same team also is the one that slips up in the division, then boom, there it is.
Exactly.
110%.
I like it.
All right,
Well,
that's it for tonight, folks. Thanks for joining in and taking our shenanigans with you.
Yeah, hopefully my voice wasn't too bad.
It was
Something
funny.
coming up if you're in the Battle Creek County area, Saturday, October 28th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the One Nation Tap House. We're going to be having our trunk or treat with Ricky and It's More Than Just Fights and the Guns Down, Gloves Up movement. We're going to be having, tables of candy for the kids. We're going to have booths for kids to interview their parents, Little Tykes basketball hoops set up. We're going to have local fighters out there so you to meet the fighters and you put some equipment on spar. We're going to have
get some autographs from Travis and I.
Right, we're actually have a guy out there that's going to have snakes, and so you can go see some animals and stuff.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun. It's all free. Just come out there for the community. Come support. We'll be there for you. And until next time, Austin, I hate
Austin,
you.
end it. I hate you. End it.
Who gives him? Why do we always decide to give him the power?
I don't know. Y'all don't.
It's still going, Austin. End the fucking recording.
Good night.